For those of you unfamiliar, Tremors is a monster movie. It's the on-land equivalent of Jaws. Worm instead of shark. It's more comedic than Jaws, but it's more serious than Sharknado. It's horror comedy. The comedy does not stem from the situation itself being ridiculous, like the Sharknado. The comedy comes from the dialogue, keeping the monster situation the core of what is causing the scariness, what's causing the anticipation. It navigates both genres very well, and that's difficult to do. Now, I was a huge Tremors fan as a kid. It was a genius movie. That is what 8-year-old me believed, so I carry that thought. I loved it. The first Tremors. Well, I loved the first three. I really remember loving the first one so much. It was wrapped up well. I've been believing this entire time. I believed that these movies had escaped the ugly clutches of constant reboots and remakes we have to endure. It's a nice break from what we see now. It's a cohesive, well done for the genre. It would have been a nice, well wrapped up trilogy for me to bring to you. Huh? Sorry, they kept making these movies. It didn't stop after three. No one told me. I found out a couple days ago there are seven. Seven of these movies. Seven of these movies. The first one came out in 1990, which is not long ago at all, especially for a movie. It doesn't necessarily make it odd that the most recent one came out in 2020 because, a franchise can keep going that long and still be adapted. There's only seven of them. It did raise a concern for me because there are nonstop movie franchises and television shows that you can tell the makers are riding this attention high. They have stopped caring about the storyline and the characters. They should have ended the show 10 seasons ago. So now they're just throwing in plot twist and to keep it interesting, to keep people watching. The show sucks now. They're abandoning quality storytelling for attention and shock factor to stay relevant. But there are also series that are still running or that are very long that are still good. I was afraid these movies fell into the first category, the next 4 movies. So I rewatched the first 3 for the first time ever since I was like 8 yesterday. And then the rest of them. Now, I am not a movie critic. I have fun watching just about anything. I'm not going to sit there and complain and pick it apart. Usually, if it's a good movie, I'm having fun. Of course, there are better movies. I won't be judging these based on, was this movie fun? Because usually, yeah. For me, yes. I'm going to be judging them based on the original Tremors movie. If they still fall in the same tone, if they're still a Tremors movie. I hate to bring up Sharknado again because these are not the same. Different tone completely. But Sharknado has 6 movies. Every tone is the same. They add to the story. They make it a little bit more ridiculous. Of course, there are 6 of them. They're going to change and adapt. There are cyborgs and time travel. And it gets silly, but so is the first one. The tone stays the same. You watch the 6th one or the scene in space and you're like, this is Sharknado. You can watch the later seasons of a show and it's changed so much, but it's still the same tone. I am looking for that in these, or did they abandon that? The original Tremors movie genius that I know and love, that 8-year-old me knew and loved. Or do they get bad? Real quick, I know it's a long opening, a long intro before we actually get to the movies. Disclaimer, if you disagree with me, if I say something critical about one of these and you love it, it's not a personal attack on you. They're just this is my personal opinion. I hope we differ. I hope you enjoyed all of them where I didn't, and you had a good time and it wasn't a waste. So, that out of the way, let's just watch the Tremors movies. I'll go through all of them and the plots real quick with you so you follow along with what I'm saying and it's not me sitting here just telling you which one of these movies ruined my life, and so you can compare how well they stick to the first Tremors movie. Tremors 1, most commonly referred to as its actual name, Tremors. The movie opens with us meeting the 2 main characters, Earl and Val. Val is played by Kevin Bacon, who I will probably just refer to as Kevin Bacon this entire time, because that's the only thing I remembered about this movie was the sandworms and that Kevin Bacon is in this. Let me break down the characters for you. Kevin Bacon and Earl, main characters. Rhonda, seismology student. Bert and Heather are a survivalist couple. There's an annoying teenager, Melvin, and then Mr. Chang, who owns the store that they're always hanging out in. Nancy and Mindy. So Nancy is the mom and Mindy is the daughter. And Miguel, that's everyone who lives here. Kevin Bacon and Earl are handymen.
Handyman, Earl. We are handymen.
In this small town called Perfection, Nevada, they handyman stuff. They fix fences, they pick up trash, they fix sewer systems. They do everything under the sun for the people in this town. And they both kind of hate it because they're not making enough money. This is not a town you're gonna thrive in handyman wise. And you see them bickering and establish them as close friends who want to make it out of this small town and in the big city so they can make more money. You've seen movies. When they're driving between jobs, Earl is trying to impart wisdom on Kevin Bacon. You are so young and immature. You need to plan more so we can make it out of here. Stop looking at my cat and listen to the plot of this movie. He's driving. God, someone is trying to flag us down. Earl is like, I think it's the new grad student, Rhonda. She's like, hey, BFFs, my little seismology graph thing going bananas. Can you tell me what's going on here? Is someone drilling? They're like, no, girl, but we'll ask around. And so they do. You meet Bert and Heather.
You know, those college kids turn up oil or uranium or something out there? Next thing, the feds will be at our door. Sorry, time to move.
You see bits and pieces out of their town. Everyone knows everyone. I like this. It allows familiarity between the characters and the interactions. Very tropey. You're not getting too much character development because this type of movies, but that's fine. So Earl and Kevin Bacon out on another job and they're bickering again. Septic tank they're working on explodes, and that's sort of the final straw for them. Their stuff's packed up in a truck. They rip their names off the mailboxes. They get in their truck and they skedaddle. Most of the beginning of this movie is them trying to leave town and having to drive back and then trying to leave town, driving back because they keep finding people not among the living anymore. First person, Edward Deems. They see him up in a electrical tower and Kevin Bacon loses rock, paper, scissors. So he has to climb up and wake the guy up because they think he's just been drinking.
Drag your hairy ass down.
The town doctor is there and he's like, no, this guy dehydrated. That's what happened to him. He dehydrated.
Died of dehydration. Thirst.
Oh, that doesn't make any sense.
And they are like, that's so funky and weird, man.
That takes a couple of days, doesn't it? Maybe even 3 or 4.
If I said, doesn't that take a couple of days? And you said, maybe even 3, you'd be on my top enemy list. You know what I meant. They tell everybody about it to leave again, but then they stumble upon a farm. Old Fred's farm. Old Fred, not alive anymore. His head is under his hat.
Oh, Jesus! What the hell's going on? I mean, what the hell is going on?
The situation's really getting ahead of them. No, I can do better. So no head. It's not funny. Someone just died. Be respectful. And all the sheep also have been chomped on. They have to drive back, tell everybody about that. They're freaking out. And on the way into town, they pass construction workers. Hey, someone is going around beheading people.
Get the hell out of here! There's a killer on the loose! What?
And the construction workers are like, that's funny. That's a funny joke he told us. And the drill gets dragged. So do the construction workers. And they get devoured. This causes a rock fall where they're doing construction and it blocks the only road, so Kevin Bacon and Earl can't leave again. You know, they go tell everybody and then they try to leave again because they're leaving town still. But they can't. Rock fall when they're stopped. And they're like, this guy's probably still around. The guy that's taking life from people. Their car gets stuck. Their truck thing gets stuck on the rocks. An axle, a tire, a car part. Kevin Bacon drives away. We get back into town. Hey, something wacky is still going on. This little girl, Mindy, she notices something attached to their car.
Where'd you get it? I don't know he had it.
Worm snake thing. They conclude there has to be a bunch of these because that one that was stuck on the truck could not have eaten all those sheep. And then there's a cutscene. The doctor and his wife getting attacked by a bunch of these little worms. Even though she gets into the car, there's a bunch of them that break the window and sink the car to eat her. What we are seeing, but the characters are not, is that whatever is attacking people is sensitive to movement. The drilling the construction workers were doing, farming, we know that something is going after movement. They don't know that. Their game plan, phones are down, roads closed. How do we get help? The closest town is miles and miles away.
Best on a horse.
Let's send Kevin Bacon and Earl out on horses. They're both chased down.
Are you okay? Yeah, what about the...
And we discover two things. One, it comes out of the ground. We knew that. They discover that.
That's how they get you. They're under the goddamn ground.
The most dramatic, concerning thing, all of those little worm things are not the problem.
Must be a million of them.
Those are the tentacles that come out of the mouth of a giant worm.
Nope, just one.
Which crashes right into the concrete wall they jump over. And it is no longer alive. They're celebrating.
We killed it. Fuck you!
Hey guys, what's going on?
She's looking at her little graph thing, and she goes, guys, based on my little science readings, there are 3 more of these giant worms. They even have to sleep out on like large rock, solid rock. How do you think they get from point A, surrounded by dirt, to point B? Truck is kind of far off. Make a run for it, distract them, throw things one way and run the other. Great idea.
We just stay where it can't get us.
They pole vault perfectly. They're all backing down, telling everyone about it, freaking out. And then they realize the thing senses movement. That's how it hunts. Vibrations. That's what they name them, graboids. Yet the phones are down and the road's out, but we just gotta wait. And Kevin Bacon leaps to tell them that's not the case. And I mean leaps. He jumps over a counter.
Now look! It's either headed right for us. Fred right here nailed those 2 poor suckers on the road, and the doctor's place is right here. This valley is just one long smorgasbord.
To tell them this valley's a smorgasbord. Smorgasbord? 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 They're gonna die. Melvin, that teenager, was in there during this conversation, but he leaves anyway and is walking around on the dirt, and they have to go save him. That's when they get attacked the first time. Graboid's out there, his tentacles are out, and they all get away safely. They run back into the store. Gonna get us via vibrations. We have to be quiet. We can't run around the store floor. We have to stay inside. And that is when Nancy realizes, hey, I don't know where my child is. My child that pogo sticks around. Where is she? I don't have children. I know of them. And I know you keep an eye on them. It's a small town. She knows everyone. Her kid pogo sticks around all the time and she's safe. I would forget that if there was a giant worm swimming around eating people. Any child would, that'd be in my hand. Be in my hand. The child would be in my hand. That's just what you do because kids are stupid and get eaten easily. Nay. It occurs to her now to go, where's my kid? So Kevin Bacon runs out there to knock that kid off the pogo stick and save her life.
Get him off. It'll suck that truck down.
Everyone's out there now, running around, trying to save each other.
Jeez, here comes another one.
Grad student Rhonda did fall and get barbed wire wrapped around her legs, so she has to take her pants off so it doesn't pull her into its mouth. So she's all cut up, and they all run into the store. Genius master plan now is get everyone from the store off this loose dirt onto solid rock in the mountains. How are they getting there, you ask? Perfect question, you're so smart. A giant bulldozer, a trailer thing behind it so everyone can sit in that. While they're planning this, the graboid breaks through the ground of the store, and they have to climb shelves, get on the roof, and they all get separated. Rhonda is next door on the water tower. Miguel, Earl, Kevin Bacon are on top of the store. Oh, Chang did get eaten, so he is not helping right now. The survivalist couple can see him across the way at their little bunker. Kevin Bacon has to radio them.
Listen, we found out what's been killing people. Say over. Over. Get up on your roof. The things, they're under the ground, coming right after you.
The graboid breaks in, but luckily, weird survivalist couple have a wall of weapons. They go through all of them and do annihilate this one graboid. I know what you're thinking. I was thinking also, how on earth did that one little child pogo sticking attract the attention of 3 graboids? But this one graboid breaking through a wall and a couple using all of their loud weapons not attract the other 2. What were the other 2 doing? I don't know. Not a clue. Not a single idea. I don't know. They don't show up. To get to the solid rock of the mountains. Pull this trailer on a giant bulldozer cat thing. Yeah, they'll be making a lot of noise and vibration movement, but it's too big and heavy for the graboids to eat. They create a distraction so Kevin Bacon can run for the tractor. It was supposed to be Earl because he won the rock, paper, scissors game, which is how these 2 make life and death choices. And Earl won, but Kevin Bacon pushed him over and jumped off the roof. He does almost die making a run for it.
It worked. Can't find him.
And Rhonda, who's on the water tower, kicks a pipe so there's water going all over the ground, and they go for that so Kevin Bacon can get on the tractor. Picks up everybody off their roofs, including the survivalist couple who take forever because they're loading all these explosives, whatever survivalist gun people have.
Can't hold still long. These things are damn smart. They're getting smarter by the minute.
That's fine. We got some new things to teach them.
They go to get on the mountains almost because they're like, hey, the graboids stopped chasing us. Now they're way over there. Should we be concerned about what they're doing? And the response is no.
What the hell are they doing? I don't care what they're doing, as long as they're doing it way over there.
The graboids were making a trap. They put a hole in the dirt so the tractor fell into it. Now they're all stranded on the tractor. They have weapons, so they make a run for the rocks by throwing these explosives. And they don't hurt the graboids, they're just so loud that it kind of shoots them into different directions. They get on the rocks. The graboid is circling them.
Could we make it to the mountains? Use Bert's explosives.
We need 50 of those bombs.
We're not getting off this rock.
We're not gonna pole vault out of here.
5 minutes on the rocks, and people are arguing.
You know, we could have left your worthless ass on the roof.
I wish you had, fearless leader.
What they do when they're trapped on these rocks is go fishing. So they use the fuse.
What kind of fuse is that? A cannon fuse. What the hell you use it for? A cannon.
Duh. They tie an explosive to it, throw it, sensing the movement of something hitting the ground. They lurch for it and eat it. And when they've eaten it, they blow up. This works one time. One graboid goes down this way. The second one eats the explosive and spits it back out at them before it blows up. That's how smart, like, they evolve very quickly. It shows that all throughout this movie. And they're shocked every time. And it forces 3 of them off. Rhonda, Earl, and Kevin Bacon. They're standing still. They only have 1 explosive. Well, Kevin Bacon, it's his plan.
I'm gonna go for it.
Go for what?
You got a goddamn plan!
And Rhonda and Earl run with him, runs to the cliff edge, and throws the explosive behind the graboid. So it lurches forward. And it flies off the cliff.
Can you fly, you sucker? Can you fly?
And that's how the last one is eliminated, handled, flies to its own demise. End of the movie. Kevin Bacon and grad student end up together. Conclusion on Tremors 1. The humor not in the absurd situation. They managed to make worms sinister, not sinister. There's anticipation, intensity. That's the horror aspect. It's not a funny situation that you're laughing at. You're concerned also. When Sharknado came out, and there was this influx of stupid horror comedy movies that came out because of the attention Sharknado got, I won't even watch some of them. And I will watch anything. It's an absurd situation. You're laughing at it the whole time. There's no actual horror. In this, There's a good balance, completely different genre. I would not put Tremors in a category with these. I'm trying to like show that these are better. They walk the line, this tightrope of scary and funny perfectly. It's a perfect monster movie, so much closer to Jaws, but funny. And you know, obviously graboids aren't real, knock on wood, but they don't make it an absurd situation you're laughing at. Loved it, big fan, perfect. No notes. I feel like this was mostly me just telling you the plot of the movie, but that's because there's nothing to say. This is what I will be holding the rest of the movies to. Tremors 2 came out in 1996. No Kevin Bacon, no Rhonda, by the way. Starts out Earl. He is in Nevada, perfection still. He's trying to wrangle an ostrich when Carlos Ortega shows up. And he's like, hey BFF, I have an oil field in Mexico. My workers are being eaten by a graboid. Please come help.
Large underground animals. Graboids.
Earl says no, graboids are dangerous, and he doesn't want to get eaten. Grady Hoover is the guy who offered to drive Carlos Ortega up. He walks into Earl's trailer, and Earl is not doing well financially, despite the fact that there's been video games, shoe commercials, magazines, and comics, world renowned what they did. Everyone knows about it. Like, it's well established.
Why are you so dumb? Oh, Grady Hoover. It's an honor to meet you, Mr. Bassett, sir. I'm probably your biggest fan.
He wants to help Earl hunt the graboids in Mexico.
He said the Mexican army is willing to give you whatever you want. Dynamite. Well, bam!
Please, we get $50,000 per graboid. Earl goes. On their way to Mexico, this scene does imply that Grady Hoover doesn't know what rock, paper, scissors is.
What? Scissors, rock, paper. 1, 2, 3. What's this?
And I was like, surely that's not what that scene implied. He just didn't expect it. No, he doesn't know what it is. He's never heard of it. He doesn't get it. This happens several times in this movie. They're in Mexico. Carlos Ortega is like, if you can capture one alive, you don't have to, but if you can, you get paid double. 100,000 if you can capture one alive. And Earl is not happy.
Earl, you never know.
Yes, I do. Never gonna come down here.
Despite the fact that he doesn't have to do this, like, I shouldn't have been here. This sucks. You don't have to do it. It was a suggestion.
It is only a suggestion, if it was possible to capture one.
Kate Riley, the scientist, Julio, another scientist, and Pedro, the mechanic.
This is Julio. He's been setting up the seismographs they talked to you about.
Those are our three people: Pedro, Julio, Kate Riley. Kate and Earl exchange glances real quick, so you know there's going to be romantic interest there. Grady and Earl go off the next day to hunt graboids. Army of Mexico, I guess, offered them anything they need, so they are fully equipped with explosives. Now, Earl is more cynical and intense than the first one, because you know that fear factor of not knowing what's going on has been removed, so they kind of have to amp up his annoyance of the situation. To balance that out, Grady is sillier than Kevin Bacon was. He's more thrilled and excited.
Just, drag it behind the truck. Make more noise.
I think that's a good balance. I love how well the duos work in these movies, most of them. Incredible main duos. It's different enough from the first one without losing its grip on their good balance between comedy and suspense. They're out there hunting their graboids.
There's mountains all around. You said they can't get through mountains.
I said they can't go through rock. These hills are alluvial.
Oh, alluvial. That's that little dingleberry in the back of your throat, right?
They have remote control cars that they put explosives on, and they navigate the cars, so that's what's attracting the graboids. And when they eat it, they press the button.
Hit it! Hit it, Earl! He's ready! 50 G's! Oh,
Told you.
I forgot.
And they, montage them continuously doing this. They're taking a break, they're sitting out on some rocks, and the radio gets eaten.
You left the radio on the ground?
Sorry, I forgot.
And Grady is walking on the ground as his umbrella flew off the truck. They hear the radio distantly.
I know that song.
And of course, it's the graboid coming after them.
Eddie, get off the ground!
What it did is it grabbed onto the chain that Grady had hooked up to the truck, so it's yanking them all around, and it pulls them up onto these rocks. The chain broke off, but the car's fine. How is the car fine? I don't know. They do find out that there's like a dozen more graboids all like showing up on the screen coming at them. And they're like, we need help. And who do they call? Not the Mexican army. No, they do not. All the help they were offered by the military? Nay, nay. They call Burt Gummer, the survivalist from the first one. His wife isn't there. They got a divorce. Now, I want you to guess the reason they got a divorce, real quick.
You know, she actually blames our problems on the collapse of the Soviet Union.
Well, you did take that kind of hard, Bert.
If you did not guess the collapse of the Soviet Union, that's on you. I've always said that's the leading cause of divorce, obviously.
Said I couldn't handle life without the threat of global war.
Bert does show up in a military vehicle, tons of weapons, TNT, everything the army offered he took, including a bunch of MREs, meals ready to eat. They're like what military people are grubbing on out in the fields and stuff. He spends so long talking about them. At first, I was like, this feels like a commercial. They're being sponsored by MREs. Everything in it he talks about.
Foods entree, cracker pack, cheese.
And then he got 120 pounds. And that everyone needs them. Like, it felt so out of place to me. I was like, huh? However, it is necessary how nutrition filled they are. So remember that. Put in the back of your mind, there's about 100 pounds of MREs on this man's truck. They go their separate ways. Earl and Grady go to hunt. Burt Gummer goes to hunt. Burt Gummer's throwing grenades. One graboid starts swimming away from Earl and Grady. And they follow it. In case you forgot, in the last movie, wow, these things are so smart. Every few seconds they get smarter. If I was hunting these things, I wouldn't be. If I was, and I knew they kept getting smarter, would I follow one running away from me? No. They do. Earl is well aware of this fact too. They crashed the truck chasing it, so they're stranded without a truck. But don't worry, the graboid didn't do anything trap-wise, didn't attack them. It's just above ground, so like dirt graboids usually here. It's like half out of the ground now, just making noises. My first thought was, I've seen movies. Monsters making noise means it's calling all the other monsters to it. Don't worry, it's not. It's just wailing. It's not attacking them. It's just out of the ground, crying.
Something's wrong with it.
But they're excited because if they capture a live one, they get $100,000. They call Pedro. They're like, hey, you have a big truck with a hook. Pick us up with this graboid. Yeah, BFF. I'll be there. But they wait a long time. The graboids keeps crying louder. Louder and louder.
God almighty.
Something's wrong with our world.
They camp out there for a hot minute. And all night, they hear this graboid. And eventually, they go check on it because they think it's being eaten. It is not alive. It has not been eaten. Something came out of it.
What do you mean something came out of it? It turned into something else like a caterpillar does.
Yeah. The graboid evolved, and they see Pedro's truck finally, but it's like a mile away, and they wait a long time, and it hasn't moved. So Grady's like, I think we should just walk. We should risk it. So Earl grabs the little TV thing that tells them where the graboids are so he can see if one's coming for him, and they walk over to the truck. And they find Pedro. Well,
Hey, there he is.
they find his hands.
It's a whole new ball game. A whole new goddamn ball game.
Which isn't super handy in this situation. Whatever came out of the graboid, it is above ground. They run away. There's a building right there close by in a truck, and Grady's like, I'll just hotwire it and we can get out of here. When they hear a noise,
What the hell is that?
they do put it down. They do. See, this movie is still funny. I think it's a little more comedic, but it in a more balanced way because it gets creepier, more suspenseful. In my opinion, I think this is still very close to the first one. It's not the first one, it's not as good, but I'm loving it. I'm having fun. I'm creeped out. I watched this at night, closed my curtains. I didn't want that thing to see me. Real quick, back in the story. You see Kate and Julio. Julio's talking. he gets eaten. Kate freaks out and goes to hide in a corner with a hammer and cries. So solidarity. Girly Pop thought I would have been doing that the entire time. All of the graboids evolved at the same time, or metamorphosized at the same time. The graboids aren't a problem right now. There are no graboids, just shriekers. Bert does show up. Bert's fine. Bert's alive. I mean, he's a little worse for wear. Truck demolished. He is upset with this development.
I feel I was denied critical, need to know information.
Because he thought someone should have informed him. Who would have told him about this? I don't know. But Bert did capture one alive, and they get it inside. And when they take it inside, we find out, not them, just us, that there's another one alive under Bert's truck. It takes one of the MREs off of Bert's truck and eats it. And they're looking at the graboid, evolved graboid, Shrieker. It's a Shrieker. And they find out his thermal imaging, that's how it hunts. It's like, it can thermally sense you. That's why it attacked the communications tower. No eyes, which I like. I love this development because, yes, scientifically it makes sense. The evolved graboid wouldn't have eyes. Sure. Also, if it could see, that sort of takes away any creative way to get away from it. Like, take T-Rexes, for example. In Jurassic Park, they're like, hey, if you stand still, a T-Rex can't see you. And that's been in, I don't know if it started in Jurassic Park, but that's been in like every dinosaur movie ever. I think in an episode of Amazing World of Gumball, definitely in Ice Age Dawn of the Dinosaurs. Anytime you see a T-Rex, that is incorporated. That if you stand still, it can't see you. That's not true, by the way. Like, there's no reason to think that that's how T-Rexes work, but it's incorporated because creative ways to get away from it. If that wasn't an aspect of the T-Rex, you would just die. You would just get eaten. There's no way around it. There's no way you're surviving. It's suspenseful, it adds interest. And the same thing applies here. The heat sensing is a hindrance to it fully being able to get at you. Like, well, being able to see. I like that obstacle. It doesn't make it too silly. I love this. I think we're still in the Tremors vein, in the Tremors tone. Evolved graboid, the Shrieker, heat thing, it's cool. However, it does then cough up a baby. Yeah, because it was well fed. It was out there eating people, eating animals. So when it's well fed, they multiply. They don't hook up with each other. They don't fall in love and mate. They just eat and cough up a baby. So, remember those MREs that were on Bert's truck where that one Shrieker was? Yeah. It has turned into several more Shriekers. When one eats, it coughs up a baby, and then that baby coughs up a baby, and then that baby, like, they develop very quickly. Once it's coughed up, it's a Shrieker. It's fully formed. One does break through the glass. They have to run. They run into an unfinished building. They're sitting ducks. So what do? There's a bunch of doors around because this building is still in construction, and they hide behind these doors, but they don't have a plan. So they're like, oh, what do we do?
Where are we going? Are there any more cars left?
One, Julio.
But on the way there is a Shrieker that Bert has to get rid of, and he has this, the one weapon he has on him is this huge one.
Smoked his ass.
Doing what I can with what I got.
And when he destroys the Shrieker, it also put a hole through a wall, a bunch of oil barrels, and it goes through the truck. It destroys the truck also. They're stranded, and they get spotted. Grady climbs the oil tower. Earl and Kate have to make a break for the canteen, but it's like flimsy. The Shriekers know that they're in there and try to get in. Earl boils water, puts a t-shirt in it, and runs this hot t-shirt through a clothesline. So it's like hanging. All the Shriekers go running for the hot t-shirt, and they get away out of the canteen and climb the ladder onto the oil tower there with Grady. Now, I did not mention Bert because Bert did not make it up the oil tower. Bert had to jump into the mouth of a tractor.
It's working. They can't find you. Don't move.
Good. Good idea.
Mouth? Scoopy part? The Scoopy shovel mouth. He's stuck in there. Kate's plan is to stay there and wait, because the army will show up eventually, right? They know they're there. They know they're hunting monsters. This plan, this little stay, camp out on the old tower, is cut short because the Shriekers also get smart quick. And they start climbing each other's heads. Bert saves them, and he runs. And all the Shriekers chase him, and he runs through the building and closes all the doors, locks them in there. They're trapped. They're trapped with MREs and several pounds of flour that are in that building, meaning that they're snacking and repopulating. Earl gets sprayed with a fire extinguisher, so he's covered in CO2 and cold enough to not be visible by their heat sensors, is going to go in there to grab explosives and get out. Now, Grady wanted to do this, but he lost rock, paper, scissors. Well, he didn't lose, but keep in mind, he doesn't know what rock, paper, scissors is. Earl just lied to him.
Yes. No. Rock rips through paper. Huh? I go. Give me that shirt.
This obviously does not work for that long. As soon as Earl's on the truck, the CO2 starts falling off and he's visible. He didn't have time to grab bombs. He had time to set one bomb and leave it in there and get out. Grady pulls Earl out.
Run, go! I set a bomb! What? How was the bomb? I don't know. I didn't have time. I just threw it in your truck. You what?
Bert is the only one who's like, hey, I had TNT and all the explosives under the sun in that truck. We have to keep running.
No! Keep going! It's gonna be big! Big!
Is he serious?
Bert knows his bombs.
So they run and hide in a ditch, and the building blows up. And all the Shriekers are gone. And that's the end. Well, Kate and Earl flirt, and Grady's excited about how much money they're going to make and can open a theme park. That was Tremors 2 Aftershocks. I don't know the common opinion on all these movies. I didn't want it to influence anything I said, so I haven't looked it up yet. I thought the first one was perfect. I liked this movie too. I think it's close enough to the first one, and they lost the factor, the fear aspect of not knowing what's going on, and still made it a good movie. This movie was funny, and it was still a little creepy. If you were someone who watched this and the second it showed the shriekers, you laughed, fine, that's fine. You don't have to love this. I do. I think it's a good second movie. Rarely is anything gonna hold a candle to the first one. I think it's good. They definitely kept the balance between, I wouldn't necessarily call it horror, like super scary, but anticipation, suspense. There's still that, and comedic characters. So I still think great movie. Tremors 3, Back to Perfection, implying we're going to be back in Perfection, Nevada. Shocker, was released in 2001. It's been 11 years since the first movie. The town citizens haven't really been keeping up with graboid prevention that Bert insists upon. Miguel from the first one is here. They have a lot of returning people. The woman who owns Walter Chang's store, I want to say her name is Jody. Is his relative, his niece. The tourism of the town is low. It's not a flourishing town to the point where there is a real estate agent that's been telling everybody he wants to buy up their land.
See you, Miguel. Just some real estate guys out of Reno. They want to cut up the valley into parcels. That'll be a cold day in hell.
One person who's making money is this guy named Jack. What he's doing is faking graboid attacks, so he'll put a bunch of people, ride them out to the desert, fake graboid attacks by like having his friend Buford, who sucks, make dust look like it's coming up. The truck will stall, he'll make graboids show up on the screen, there'll be shakiness, that's how he makes money. Bert is not a fan of his. He does talk about a watch that he got
Via ultrasonic frequency.
and it's like supersonic noises. Put that in your brain. Cuts to Buford spying on Mindy, who is the child in the first movie. I don't know if it's the same actress, but she was the pogo stick kid. She's a teenager now. Spying on her with binoculars.
Buford! Go on, set up.
Sitting next to her. So he's stupid and a creep. So they're on another tour faking graboid attacks. Mindy is with them. Buford's being super creepy.
We were gonna be over anyway.
You don't enjoy my company, huh? You know, a man could take offense at that.
Luckily, Buford gets eaten. First graboid attack in Nevada in 11 years, and it eats Buford first. So Jack jumps off the truck to help Mindy. They get back into town, and Bert knew there was a graboid attack because he has a little graph reader, and he's thrilled. Bert rallies everybody in Jody's store. His name is Jack Sawyer, and I remember this because if you mix Jack and Sawyer from Lost, the show, it's him. Like, he acts sort of like Sawyer and Jack put together, and he looks sort of like them too. So I think it's like, that's his perfect name. I never forgot it. He's the only character whose name I'm 100% certain that I know. And Bert says only 3 graboids. So they're all game planning.
So what do we do?
Your little jungle boat ride is over, mister.
Yeah. So what do we do?
We can't wait for the authorities to bumble into this. We are the authorities.
So what do we do?
I love when they do that in these movies, the repetitive question. Bert says they hunt him down, wipe him out, and they go at dawn. Jody, Jack, Miguel, and Bert. They get stopped by the government.
We don't have time to chat. We've got work to do.
Not if it's hunting graboids, you don't. Investigate, trap, and transport at least one of these creatures for study.
Who is like, hey, these creatures are federally protected because they're endangered. You cannot hunt them. They did eat Buford, which I don't think is a problem. And I guess everyone else thinks that because it's not brought up again. They don't counter their argument with this. They cannot hunt them. If they do become a problem, they're eminent domaining the area, meaning they're gonna kick everyone out of Perfection, Nevada and seal it off to protect the graboids. And they want to trap and transport one of the creatures to study. Jack, however, is in the store with Jody and the federal government people, 2 of them, I think, and comes up with this plan. He offers, hey, if you let Bert hunt and get rid of 2 of them, he will capture one of them alive for you. And don't you want that? Because you can't do it yourselves. It's dangerous. And they're like, okay, sure. Bert hates this plan at first.
Is your head up your ass for the warmth?
We thought you'd be happy.
But then he's like, well, what else can you do?
You have some sort of tranquilizer?
He goes off to get ready to hunt him. One of the guys with the government team is a paleontologist. It's a nerd scientist, and he found graboid eggs.
It's an egg. They lay dormant for 300 years?
While Bert and Jack are out there hunting 2 graboids, the annoying teenager from the first movie, he's this sleazy real estate agent trying to buy the place out.
Making some really good deals here.
But he immediately leaves because the graboid does attack. Then it eats Bert. We're left with Jack, standing alone on a truck, super sad and devastated, until his radio goes off.
Houston, we have a problem.
What?
And Bert radios him from inside the graboid because there was a barrel around Bert that the graboid swallowed. So Bert's in the barrel inside of the graboid. I'm running out of air, BFF. I need you to lure the graboid to my property. Get in your truck and have it chase you and drive onto my property. His foundation is concrete, and the graboid chases him headfirst into the concrete wall. Rest in peace, graboid. Jack has to cut Bert out of the graboid in the barrel. He's fine. He's fine.
We keep this to ourselves.
Bert's in the car with Miguel. Jody and Jack are in a car together. 2 teams, they're hunting the graboids. The graboids are being weird. They're not chasing people. People are chasing the graboids. Yeah, they are turning into shriekers. That is when they see a scientist guy covered in CO2, like fire extinguisher stuff.
It's not a graboid. On the surface.
There are shriekers. I tried to cover myself, but they ate everybody. Everyone's been eaten. He succumbs to his wounds because he had been attacked. They didn't notice that his back was like shredded. It was shredded. He falls over, rest in peace. All the government team are gone. So they have no reason to capture one alive anymore. Bert is like, we gotta get rid of all the screechers. They've already started to repopulate.
Damn, still don't see. Holy, Just 8 of them.
8? What the hell are they eating?
When a graboid attacks,
Graboid!
Jack doesn't have his walkie-talkie. It's in his truck that the graboid attacked. And Bert is on the roof of his car. So they're stuck out there all night, and Jody and Jack flirt. Sorta. They talk about clouds.
Cumulonimbus clouds.
I wouldn't know.
Don't you ever look up?
Busy.
Too busy to look up?
Yeah, that's how they flirt. Is and shows like their differences, that she like works hard and he's so laid back and doesn't care about anything, is that he likes clouds and she's never seen them, I guess. It's cute, they're whatever. But they're out there all night on those rocks. The graboid keeps popping up, just a little tentacle. It's fully white. The reason it didn't turn into a shrieker, or 3 shriekers, 2 shriekers, whatever they turn it to, it's a worm with albinism. El Blanco, that's what they call this worm. That is why it did not produce shriekers, because Miguel says he had an animal like that once and it was sterile. It did not produce any children. Now they have a graboid and shriekers to deal with. In the morning, it took them all night to come up with this plan, by the way. In the morning, Bert fishes for his radio. Genuinely goes fishing for it. They radio Mindy, who's on the roof with her mother. Nancy and Mindy are on the roof in a box to hide from the shriekers. And they radio them and tell them, hey, play really loud music. So they turn up the radio and throw it, so the graboid goes after the radio. So they can get to the truck, grab weapons and explosives, and run on boulders into the valley to hunt the shriekers. Bert takes an explosive and throws it over rocks to where all the shriekers are. Explosion goes off. Jack's like, you did it, BFF, you did it. There's nothing here. Eviscerated them. Bert's like, there should be something. We should be pelted in shrieker.
There's nothing left.
No. We should see remains. They wouldn't just disintegrate.
How do you know?
I've blown them up before.
And the reason that they're not covered in shrieker pieces is because Miguel spots a shell.
And a husk or skin, like a snake.
I don't like that.
The shriekers also evolved, metamorphosized. I did not recall this. Keep in mind, I've seen the first 3, so I've seen this when I was 8 years old. The only thing I remembered about these is the worm and Kevin Bacon. So this I did not remember. But I was like, they evolved again. Into what? The first hurdle was the graboids couldn't get you on rocks. Shriekers can. Shriekers could not get to you if you're up high. So I was like, do they get more reptilian or bug-like and they can climb things? Because that's gross. That's freaky. I don't want to see that. But it ups the creepy factor. What do they evolve into?
What's it doing now?
I don't even have anything to say. A rocket? A rocket bird. I was like, you are messing with me. Downloaded a fake movie. This is a joke. It isn't. It can explode itself real quick. Where am I on this movie? Good movie up until now. If you love this movie, that is great. I hope you, I don't know how I feel. Is this teetering too much into laughing at the situation? I'm going to change my mind real quick. This is campy. They've gone in a campy, sillier direction, and they can make it creative and creepy at the same time. Okay, yeah, I'm having fun if I think about it that way. Campy, we're going to keep going. Miguel does get knocked off the cliff, and rest in peace, Miguel. And that causes the shrieker to dive into a fence piece, and it, rest in peace, this thing number 1. Bert radios Nancy and Mindy. Does not say, hey, these things can fly, you need to hide right now. The first thing he says, Miguel is no longer with us. Which I get it. But he takes way too much. He doesn't even tell them. He hands the thing to Jody, and she has to radio them. They heat sense and can fly. Nancy and Mindy have been in this box on a roof all night. Their combined body heat filling this box is a target. They're in the desert in the middle of the day. Is it even cool enough to heat sense? It's too hot, right? I don't know. And the shrieker does attack them on the roof, but they get inside. Mindy is like, they can only see heat, so she microwaves a huge ham, throws it at the flying shrieker. They look at the evolved shrieker that is no longer alive. It catches on fire, like liquids coming out of the thing catch on fire. They discover they're carrying an egg, and the stuff from their stomach is explosive.
The egg as far as possible.
Whoa!
So you shoot them with anything, and they'll blow up.
Blast offers or butt launchers. That's better, huh? Oh, ass blasters. How's that?
That's what she names them. I will be calling them blasters for the rest of this. They're using a mattress so they can't be seen, and they get back to Bert's bunker.
Twitter is completely graboid.
Is it ass blaster proof?
One gets in. They think they're safe.
What's all this? Food?
Better. MREs.
Until the blaster starts melting the door down,
Bitch is melting the door down.
and they escape through Bert's escape hatch, which is a giant slide that takes them into the valley. Or tunnel. It's a slide that takes them into the valley. Bert leaves gasoline tipped over. The place will blow up because he fears that if this thing gets in there to all his MREs, they'll repopulate, right? So he leans gasoline over. So when it breaks the door down, Nancy and Mindy radio Bert.
Give it all your MREs.
If you feed the blasters, they go into a food coma. Wrapped it up in duct tape, and now we've got one alive. Bert's not thrilled with. He just blew up his home. They have no weapons, no place to hide. But there's a junkyard close by. How do they get to the junkyard? With a bunch of blasters circling them, a giant explosion attracted all of them. How do they get to the junkyard? Great question. A boat.
Make up your mind!
They boat across the desert. This is this movie's pole vault scene. They crash the boat into a sign, and Bert sees a billboard that Melvin put up.
The little turd.
It's about to turn into ranchettes. But a blaster was right above them and follows them in. They do knock something over and crush this blaster, so they remove one from being alive.
Comes the rest of them.
Did they see us? Did they know we're here?
No. Yeah.
They run and hide in a porta potty to come up with a game plan. They have no weapons. Jack comes up with a plan. He says, a potato gun.
They're full of flammable chemicals.
A potato gun.
What?
A potato gun.
They're going to build a potato gun from scraps that they find in the junkyard. But instead of a potato that they're going to launch, fire arrows. They're going to fire arrow the blasters, scurrying around the junkyard. They've got all their stuff. Remember, we were thinking campy, but it's still slow. The suspense they do kind of lose that for a second. I guess the blasters were very polite. They've waited this whole time, all afternoon, wait to attack. They're like taking turns flying in. Of course, they potato gun the first one.
Now.
One is on top of the building they're in and breaks through and attacks Bert, so Jody has to get on Jack's shoulders and try to shoot it through the ceiling.
Don't blame me if I miss because I haven't actually done it.
And it just falls off. Bert gets ready to potato gun another one, and it dodges it.
Oh, wait. I know it. Sons of bitches are always on a learning curve. Incoming!
Run into a different section of the trailer and lock themselves in. Leave gasoline so it blows itself up in there. Mission completed. And that is when El Blanco burst through the floor.
How the hell does he always know where I am?
How does it always know where you are? Well, they figure out it's the watch, the supersonic watch. Which to me doesn't really make sense. Well, yeah, it does because of the supersonic, the graboid is sensitive to sound. But he's shocked that the graboid attacks them. Despite the fact they've been running around and making noises and explosions, and he's shocked. It's broken through the floor of stores. You've been making vibrations, but that's not the reason it attacks them. It attacks them because of the watch. Bert climbs out of the window. He gets stuck on like a metal mattress frame, so he's out of the game. Jack takes the watch, puts a ball of duct tape, and puts it in the watch so he can chuck the watch onto that lab blaster that got knocked off the building. Blanco comes out of the ground and eats the last blaster. And that's the end battle. Keep the live blaster that Mindy captured as a tourist attraction. Hey, I got a job in Bixby, so I'm staying in town. Jody, will you come right off with me into the sunset?
I can see the clouds from here.
Yeah, but these are the good ones.
And gets in the car and rides off with them. It's very cute. And pretty much the end, everything's wrapped up. What about El Blanco? Did El Blanco get destroyed in the final fight in the junkyard? Melvin is still a problem. Keep that in mind. Melvin wouldn't be the only real estate guy. So he's talking to Melvin out on the rocks.
Safer up here.
The plan is upgrades the town graboid protection. Everyone's now protected from graboids. And as long as El Blanco is there, the town is federally protected. He leaves Melvin out there with El Blanco.
The whole town agrees. Between you and El Blanco, they'll take him every time. Adios, Melvin!
And drives away. And it ends with Melvin screaming insults at Bert.
You asshole! Sorry! Sick, paranoid, right-wing, redneck psycho!
And that was Tremors 3 Back to Perfection. I don't know how I feel about the blasters yet. Give me 10 minutes, my feelings are going to change. They're going to change back. I think it did make it lose a little bit of a suspense factor. Didn't lose any comedy. I think for a while it's freaky once you get over the initial "this is ridiculous." Well, I'm not harping on this movie too much. They're monster movies. They're not, every movie is not going to be, hey, we're running from a graboid. That would be ridiculous. They've got to evolve them somehow. Again, I'm not a movie critic, so I can't tell you if this is too far out of what the original Tremors is. I don't know if it throws off the balance too much. I know you want me to have a concrete opinion of this is good, I love this, or this sucks. It was campier, so I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go it was campy, it was still comedic without it being laughing at the situation. The blasters do that a little bit. And again, I love the duo. The main duo is always like they do really well with that. That it really like brings out the trope of each character and it shows how ridiculous Bert is. Not as good as the first two. Good. Fun. I had fun. Still good. I like the third Tremors movie. Besides losing some of the fear factor and how silly the blasters are, that's my only qualm. So that was Tremors 3, and that was my opinion. Tremors 4, The Legend Begins, was released in 2003. It's called that because it is set further back in time. It is set in the same town, but it's not called Perfection. It's called Rejection. It opens with miners getting attacked. I mean miners as in men in a silver mine mining for things, not miners as in underage people. People mining are getting snatched left and right. You don't see what it is. Everyone's getting devoured, except one of our main characters, Juan Padilla.
Where are you?
Juan Padilla survives. I usually wait a little while into the movie to cut it and start giving my opinion. I love this character. Heart of the movie. Everyone leaving Rejection because the mine's closed because people are getting eaten in there. The people still in town. Juan Padilla, the Changs, I think it's Pyong Chang, Luan Chang, and then Fuyan Chang. He's a child. And Christine, she owns the inn that's attached to the Chang store. And also Tacopa.
It'll end up as a ghost town if that mine doesn't reopen.
I love Tacopa. I love all the side characters in this movie. And everyone in the store, those people I just mentioned, they get a telegram saying basically it's disgusting. The little money that my mine is making. I'm a rich guy. I own the mine. You should be producing more silver. I am coming to investigate the situation and handle this. Signed, Huron Gummer. Gummer, as in Burt Gummer. His grand whatever from the 1890s. The same actor for Burt. So the guy that plays Burt is playing, I'm definitely not pronouncing this right, Haram. And if I accidentally say Burt, that's who I'm talking about. He shows up and he is not this tough, cool guy everyone thought he was gonna be. He's a rich, pretentious, posh, annoying, stuck-up guy. And he didn't know the mine was closed. He just thought they weren't producing enough.
The mine closed? I feel I've not been privy to critical, most needful information.
You'll notice that is a callback to every other time Bert's been in a movie. He's like, I've been denied critical information. One thing they overdo so much in this movie is callbacks. Like, it almost ruins Haram's character, intentionally trying to be funny by being like, hey, look how different this guy is than Bert. Doesn't know anything about guns and can't do anything himself. And I get that character, but they like drill it so much. That's my only qualm. The comedy isn't coming from that. It's everyone else. This is what they want to be funny to you. And it loses its charm quicker than they thought it would, I think.
What on earth happened?
No one knows.
Must you speak in riddles?
What happened? No one knows. Must you speak in riddles? Either I don't know what a riddle is, or that wasn't a riddle. An enigma. A riddle. Who knows? Someone responding to a question with no one knows. Not in like a mystical, no one knows for sure, implying that you know and you're a part of it. That can be puzzling. A riddle, I guess. But someone genuinely responding with no one knows why these people died. It's not a riddle. He is brought to his room and he's like, I'm not gonna sleep in a tent. This is basically a tent. He's offered beans. And he's like, I'm not gonna eat beans. You have flour, you have sugar, make me cake. You understand me? I'm rich and I want cake.
Gingerbread cake, yes, that should do nicely.
You want me to strangle him?
He tells the kid, he's like, hey Fuyan, do you want a piece of this cake, the last bite? Fuyan's like, yeah. He's like, well, go get me my alcohol from my bag. And Fuyan brings it back. And Haram eats the cake in front of the kid. And he's like, hey kid, real world, if you can swindle someone, swindle them. People are going to take advantage of you.
Anyone can be taken advantage of, and if you can, do.
And it sets up the Chang family in the other movies when they run the stores. They're trying to make money off of anything and everything. They charge you for everything. And this is like, call back, look at why they're the way they are. It's because of him. Isn't that funny? Again, cute the first time. That is all, every scene with him for most of this movie. Isn't this funny? This explains the characters later on. And I keep saying this, and it makes me sound like I hate this movie, but I don't. To me, it aids in these movies losing balance between scary and funny is supposed to be organic character interactions. Haram is supposed to be the main character, the heart of the movie, the funny part of it, the way Bert is, and they lose it a little bit, I think. It's a little slow. Everything you want out of his character comes from someone else. I don't hate him. I mean, it makes sense in the setting. Again, a tropey character, but it's done to fit what's going on. But if you love the movie, if you think it's heartwarming and cute, and you watched it and you were like, oh, that's a fun callback, I like the way they did that. Cool, great. I hope you enjoyed it. And top favorite film, you don't feel like you were bored at all. I love that. You can hate this. And every day wake up and go, I hate this. I mean, that's a little, I'm not going to endorse that because you could be doing other things, but I'm saying different opinions. It's fine. I'm not attacking your love for this movie. And again, I didn't look up critic points. So this is the most favorite, renowned, loved movie in this franchise. Top one for everybody. Please don't hate me. Okay, let's just go into the plot. Haram and Juan Padilla ride out to the mine. And there's a couple men out there waiting who stayed to be their army and help them. And they go into the mine and it's empty. Nothing happens. They even camp out. And they camp out and Haram's like, I can't camp here. There's no trees. Where am I going to hang my hammock? Where am I going to cook my tea? I'm not a survivalist like Bert. Remember Bert? Haha, I'm so different. It's a funny laugh. Anyway, Haram's like, we can open the mine. There's nothing there. Everything's fine. It seemed to have disappeared. And that is when they are attacked. Not by a giant worm graboid. These things have not gotten there yet. They're tiny and they fly at you. Juan figures out. They hunt through sound and they come up through the soft dirt.
through this soft dirt. Then we made a sound, even your teapot.
Part of the movie, the smart one, and handled one of the flying graboids already. Brings everything to the table. They walk back to town they're on solid rock walking back, so they're safe. They tell everybody what's going on.
When they're not underground, they're flying very fast.
Too long. Dragons. Dirt dragons.
We never had them in China.
And Rom puts out a telegram ad thing for a sharpshooter to come handle the situation. It's been a month since they put out the ad, by the way. A month. He's been staying there a month. Nothing's happened.
It's me. Very few men have statues of themselves.
Oh, a salesman gave that to me when he couldn't pay his bill.
Could be me.
And she's like, hey, are you going to pay for your stay? You've been here a month and you're rich. And he's like, no, I don't trust you guys with my money. When you build a proper bank in this town.
Pathetic town has a proper bank to which I can wire funds.
I'll wire you funds. But then later he finds her and he's like, actually, I only have 3 things to my name. I have this gold pocket watch, my cufflinks, and this gold coin. Everything else, my father lost his mind a little bit before he died, and he put everything we own into this mine.
Fortune in a certain silver mine.
So he's got to get it up and running to make money to survive, to pay them to help them. So you find out he's a lot nicer and warmer than he's been pretending to be, which sort of makes the whole movie is about everybody changing each other into the characters you see later on. So it sort of defeats the purpose of Haram turning into a nicer person that helps people the way Bert would. He's been like that the whole time. He's just pretending not to be. One night, the sharpshooter does show up.
Kelly. Black Hand Kelly?
Black Hand Kelly, who is Barbas from Charmed. And I'm not shocked that an actor is in a different show. But I just finished rewatching it I'd say like 2 weeks ago. Well, seasons 3 to 7, because I have taste. So if I accidentally say the name Barbas, I'm talking about Black Hand Kelly. Just put that out there. Black Hand Kelly shows up. He's this creepy, aloof, mysterious, hardcore guy. Does immediately call Tacopa a derogatory name for indigenous people. And I was like, whoa, this is cowboy Wild West times. But I had to like pause the movie for a second. He's like, who'd you hire me to shoot? Because I'll kill a guy. And everyone's like, no, girl, we have dirt dragons.
Some demonic trout.
We call them Tulong, dirt dragons.
And he's like, you guys are bananas. Pay me up front. No one has money. Haram gives Black Hand Kelly one of those 3 things he has, a really expensive gold coin. And the next day, they get ready. Haram, Kelly, and Juan Padilla get ready to go out and hunt things. They are getting all the guns from Christine. Kelly hates Hiram. He's like, I get you have no idea what to do with guns, but just grab something you're comfortable with. He doesn't like how inept and childish, useless, how he can't do anything himself and he needs Juan to help him get on a horse, which I get.
You got no pride. Get up on the horse by yourself.
This, I think, was the right way to show the development into what Bert becomes, and they find nothing. They're at the mine.
Unkilled one right here.
They make a bunch of noise. Nothing. They're out in the desert, make a bunch of noise. Nothing. Black Hand Kelly's like, you guys are losing your minds. There's nothing here. And they find eggs. And the reason they hatched is because they were running hot water to where the mine is, and it cut through the dirt where the eggs are, and it hatched the eggs. Find like a shell or a husk thing. Kelly's like, maybe one died. And Juan is like, or they changed. So they're no longer the small little flying things. They have been out all day, so they decide to make camp. Juan is like, hey, there's an old milling station, and people drive wagons on that. So the floor is completely structured. We'll be fine. They can't break through the floor beams, he says. Which, baby doll, how do you know? Everyone in these movies makes such strong, definitive statements. Like, that's not possible. They wouldn't do that. About things that they constantly tell each other keep evolving and are smart. They get to the milling station and they camp out there. And while they're sleeping, you see the tentacles of the graboids are used to try to get to them through the wall, not through the floor because of the beams. So we know that they are now big graboids with tentacles. And when they wake up everybody, Kelly like shoots at him and he's like, "Is this what you guys have been talking about?" And they're like,
So, was that them?
No.
Something new.
You said to pick something I was comfortable with.
the graboid starts making noise under the ground. No, Juan Padilla was correct, of course. They cannot break through the floor beams. However,
They cannot break through the floor beams.
it can rip them apart. They're stuck there while the floor gets ripped apart, and then it can break through the dirt and eat them. But there's a telegram on the code, so they just tap on it, the one that's in the store. So hopefully they'll get their attention. And they do that for like an hour or two, and while that time, the graboid has been ripping the floorboards apart and can break through. And it breaks through, attacks Juan. He doesn't get eaten. He rides the top of it, climbs up, gets in the ceiling. However, Mr. Blackhand Kelly, he gets attacked, swallowed whole, does not survive. Luckily though, Christine did get their telegram message and rode out to save them. So Juan Padilla and Haram escape. Haram is not as developed as a character as you thought he was, because he's like, you know what? I don't even care about you guys, but Blackhand Kelly, our sharpshooter who was supposed to handle this situation, is not alive anymore, and these things are scarier than I thought. I'm leaving and abandoning you. He leaves them. He's like, maybe they won't even cross the valley and you guys will be fine. Let's hope that's the case. I'm gonna skedaddle. Everyone in rejection is like, we have to pack up and leave because they are crossing the valley. Juan is watching and he sees them get closer. In town, Hiram, I want a one-way ticket out of here, baby. While he's in the train station, the store owner reads a telegram he got from rejection that he thinks is so funny. He's like, these people in rejection are hilarious. Let me read this out for you. They are like, help, the worms are crossing the valley, they're gonna attack us, we're gonna die. Please send help. Isn't that so funny? And Ram now feels bad about leaving them, does not get his train ticket. In fact, he leaves, spots a gun store. He gives up his cufflinks and stuff, buys a whole wagon full of weapons, and he rides back when they're all packing up to leave. And they're afraid at first. They see the dust coming and they're like, the graboids are here. But Juan is like, no, they'd be coming from that direction. BFFs, that's something else.
Well, now, maybe I'll let you keep them after all.
Did it make me cry when I first watched it? Yes. There is still heart in this movie, even though I had qualms with the writing of constant callbacks and whatever. So he hands out a bunch of weapons to everybody, upgrades what they had before.
A 2-inch bore punt gun.
Question, that looks longer than 2 inches. They have a quick pep talk group meeting game plan session. It's basically, what is the plan? And the plan is shoot them. Genius.
We will make rejection our last bastion.
Our Alamo.
Juan, we were the losers at the Alamo.
Speak for yourself, gringo.
Well, they're gonna make noise, lure them one by one. So they make noise, get armed, all that jazz. That's right. Graboid 1, down with the cannon, the 2-inch gun, easy and quick. They all celebrate by leaving their battle stations and running around on the ground, which, sure, another one shows up. They run right back into their spots. Eats the cannon. So it's running loose, running amok, chases Juan, who's on the ground, chases Juan up a pole, and he's stuck there. He's stranded. Tacopa. He puts a saw on the ground. And whacks the saw a bunch so it makes noise, and the graboid shoots in the direction of the saw and hits the saw head on. And that is how graboid number 2 is defeated. Again, when this one is defeated, they all meet on the ground to talk about it. One graboid left. Tacopa asks, where's the last one?
Where the hell is it? Let it show itself.
And that's when it attacks him. Just kidding, it ate his statue and spit it out. And he ducked into the building and he's fine. They lost the cannon and the saw. I guess they didn't lose the saw, they could have just sawed the third one the same way. But they're like, what do we do? So they still have black powder. We can build an explosive. We've got to work quickly and quietly. Fu Yan is in the shop getting twine for the fuse, and the telegraph thing goes off and makes enough noise that the graboid bursts through the store where Fu Yan is. But he's fine, and he crawls out of the little tent. Now the graboid's attacking everybody. They didn't have enough time to build the explosive, so that's not an option anymore. But now it's running around and harassing people, swimming around, moving around. What is it doing? It's attacking everybody. On land, its tentacles are out. Swimming at people who are hiding. What they do is attaches it to the tail of a huge rope, like the flywheel, you know, the part that wheels up, of a steam engine. So it gets reeled into the steam engine with such force that it explodes. Rains down graboid pieces on everybody. And that's the end final battle. And I know what you're thinking. I was thinking it the whole time. Hey, if graboids have been in Nevada before, same town, why did no one know about them? Why were these stories not passed down? Why were they shocked? Maybe people wouldn't believe their family members, but it'd be legends. It'd be little stories, you know? They tackle this by making Haram say, hey, let's agree to never tell anybody because then no one will settle in this town. We need everyone here to make money off the mine. It's not like it was a big town in the other movies, but whatever. As much as I ragged on it at the beginning of Haram's character, he does bring it back and makes it fit into the movie later. And it's very cute. I want to say more heartwarming than the other movies were, but still funny and still having suspenseful moments, even though it's a little slower. We have not hit my mortal enemy movie yet. So right now, I'm still thrilled. I'm still good. I'm still having a good time. And the ending, it's cute. It's quick. It's let me build up your store, fund your inn, pay for one's land. Tacopa, what do you want?
A new statue. One that looks like me.
New statue. And that's the end. I mean, you see them repainting the town name to perfection and people moving in to settle. Him talking about building his house that'll be easily defendable, and Christine as a present, this huge gun thing. And you see him descend into that is Bert's character. And I know I ragged on that change too much, but that's a cute ending. No qualms besides what I've already said. Good movie, good prequel. It's got heart, it's got comedy, it's got fun. It's not always where they intended it to be. Like what they intended didn't always come off as funny as they meant, but who cares? It was still funny. Tacopa was very funny. Everyone's got charm. I wasn't too silly. I think it's more Tremors than the last movie was, and I didn't even hate the last movie. I'm not trying to put the other one down. I'm just saying this one is still very close. That was Tremors 4. What you should do is stop watching this video and go, whoa, first 4 Tremors movies are so good. They stay in the same tone, funny, creepy, heartwarming, cute. They did great with the Tremors movies. Because that's what I should have done. I should have not watched the rest of them. But we're going to. I'm going to watch them again. Tremors 5 Bloodlines came out 11 years after the 4th one. It opens with a quick shot of the shock scene of someone getting attacked, letting you know this movie's going to be about monsters. After that, we get a viewing of what Bert's doing now.
My name is Bert Gummer, and I've been called many things. Gun enthusiast, monster hunter, doomsday prepper. I reject all these labels. What I am is a survivalist.
His web series. Am I one of those annoying people that hate seeing modern things in movies? Yes. you mentioned Snapchat in a movie, and I'm turning it off and hitting my head on the wall. I'm not going to complain about it in this movie because, one, it fits completely. Of course, he's doing a survivalist web series. And two, this isn't like a critically acclaimed, real, trying to be a perfect movie. It is what it is. So, also, again, it completely makes sense. While he's done filming, Travis shows up. You meet Travis. Nothing against the actor. The actor plays this role really well. Love the actor being in this movie. Thanks for keeping Tremors alive. Travis is my enemy.
That's what I'm here for, to help build out the Burt Gummer brand.
Your brand sucks. The Burt Gummer brand sucks. You're the only monster hunter I know. You've got 0 followers on Twitter. You need a filmmaker and someone to keep your brand alive and well. And while they're talking about this, another guy shows up. Eric Van Wyck from the African Wildlife Federation.
South African Wildlife Ministry.
You with the government?
What? No.
But isn't with the government? That's that quick cut to scene I told you that was at the beginning of someone getting eaten was set in South Africa. It was like someone fell in a hole while he was hunting and one guy got eaten and one guy didn't. And Bert is like, that's not possible. Graboids only exist on this hemisphere. Which, again, everyone in this movie makes such definitive statements, like they're genius scientists who have studied everything about these things all around the world. But Bert's like, that's not possible. How would you know? He convinces them, I guess. There is one funny thing Travis gives us in this movie, and it's him telling Bert to not take the offer immediately. Let him get money out of him.
Mr. Gummer's monster hunting schedule's all booked up. Bigfoot in the Ozarks, possible gremlin in Fresno, family of werewolves in Peru we heard about.
He makes Eric Van Wyck up the reward. He's like, hey, I'll pay for the funding of your videos for 3 years if you come handle this for me. So Bert's all like, heck yeah, BFF. I make a web series about survivalism and these monsters, and this will be great. This is what I do. I love this. So they get to Africa, and this is his driver who drives them to the science campsite. Says this to him.
So it doesn't matter if you're a lion or you're a gazelle. In Africa, when the sun rises, you better be running.
I get this movie is set grass outer area in Africa, villages and stuff. But do people who make movies set in Africa know that Africa isn't just villages of people running with lions, that there are cities and towns and houses and the internet? I'm not saying you can't make movies in villages in Africa. I'm saying that's not all there is. These movies are always set in the middle of nowhere, so of course that's where it's gonna be again. You better be running when the sun sets in Africa. Why? And then there's a scene of a couple who are digging up bones. It's their job. And they find a graboid skeleton. Like, we're gonna be rich. We're gonna be on National Geographic. So it confirms that there's graboids in Africa, even though we already knew. On a little zoom out, it shows the graboid's skeleton, or bones, or fossils. It shows the graboid fossil.
This is Johan Dreyer. He's my local field representative, the one who witnessed the fatal attack. That's my assistant, Taba. Capturing, that's the plan.
Andrea, he sucks, but he's funny. He survived the attack. He was with the other hunter. I have not ranted about my qualm yet. That's fine, I'm not going to. My positive of this movie, like usual, are the side characters. Nandi, who's the veterinarian, who's the smart, sciencey woman in this movie. I love Nandi, and I love her child, Little Angel. And then Baruti is the guy that, like, they're gonna be the B plot going on when Travis and Bert are doing stuff. But this is Nandi's child. Sweet little angel. She tricks Travis into eating a worm.
Is it really African tradition?
No. Keep in mind, this little girl is shocking worms for bait. Like shocking them to get them out of the ground, electrocute the ground, worms come out. This movie is about worms. I want you to guess, based on that scene, how does the final showdown go? How do they get the worm out of the ground to defeat it? I love a good foreshadow moment. I'm gonna just play this scene between Travis and Nandi.
Nandi's fine.
You are like a holiday drink, like a caramel macchiato, pumpkin spice latte, but instead of pumpkin, it's African spice.
Okay.
Yes. You are supposed to be laughing at him, not with him. I understand that. Characters like this that you hate doesn't mean the movie's promoting it. I understand that. He just sucks. I'm gonna get into it now. This is my qualm. Trying to up the ante on comedy, that it fails. There's never a point where you see Travis and Bert on screen that you're entertained. You are supposed to laugh at their dynamic so much that it is not funny at all. It is so Beavis and Butthead. It is so Dumb and Dumber. It is so Pinky and the Brain. Well, Pinky and the Brain is funny. I'm never gonna rag on Pinky and the Brain. I'm an Animaniacs girl to my core, right? I just mean they are so tropey. More Dumb and Dumber, Beavis and Butthead. Look at these two together. Aren't they super funny? That it is annoying. I don't know what happened between the fourth and the fifth movie, but they lost all interests between main duo. Even like Jack Sawyer and Bert, it wasn't a heartwarming friend dynamic, but it was good. This sucks. I keep talking about that these characters aren't really dynamic, they don't evolve, they are tropes, but they're tweaked a little to fit the movie. However, in this one, Bert's character with Travis gets worse. It feels like an SNL skit of Bert. He's so much more a mockery of what he has been. You see him with scenes with other people. He's still weird and Bert, and it's fine when Travis isn't around. But they like write him differently in every scene to just fit what's going on, and it sucks. If you watched this movie and you loved it and you were like, yeah, it got funnier, I'm having fun, cool, great. I am so glad someone enjoyed this. From the second Travis showed up, I understand what they were going for. They did it. This is not a Tremors movie, except the scenes without them in it. The B plot going on is good. If this was a different movie, it would be a good movie. It'd be Tremors. What they tried to do with Travis and Bert, do I like the character of Travis? No. Is that making me hate what's going on? Also, no. I can not like a character and know that's the point. Like, even Bert's been mentioned to be a right-wing pro-gun guy, and that's completely the opposite of me. And I get you're supposed to laugh at it, see it in the movie form, remove it. So I know how to do that. I know how to tell you this is still a funny what they were going for. Even that scene, you're like, I get it. I'm supposed to laugh at him. He's supposed to suck. But I was just like, I've seen this so many times, this character, and there's nothing new or interesting done for this movie. Not a single thing. That is my hatred of this movie. It feels like they have diverged creepy or suspenseful and comedy, so like they have not mixed them well at all in this movie. They're so far apart that it feels like you're watching two different movies, and one sucks. Oh, the couple that was digging in the dirt earlier, you see them outside showering and they get eaten. You don't see what. There's just kind of a badly filmed scene of them screaming and yelling. They do get eaten.
Sun shower.
We get them every day at this time of the year at the exact same hour.
Back of your mind, every day, same hour. Sun shower that brings lightning. Every day, they can count on it. Put that piece back of your head. keep it there. So they all go to the site where that couple was eaten, dug up the bones, and it wasn't a blaster that did it. So keep that in mind. A graboid. They have graboids and blasters here, no shriekers. Don't have questions yet. We'll get there. He can tell based on the bones that it's leaner and bigger than the North American one.
Ass Blaster definitely didn't do this. This graboid is much larger than the North American variety.
Was I supposed to do that? Is that what they keep trying to tell me when they show a shot of the bones that got dug up?
This one's leaner and more dangerous.
Because I didn't know that. Travis does question Eric Van Wyck.
Hey, what was that ministry Van Wyck said he was affiliated with?
South African Wildlife Federation. What?
Another thing to put in your head. We're starting to put pieces together. Something odd is going on. Something hinky. Something suspicious. And then Travis goes with Nandi to a celebration thing going on. They're in a village and talking about the blasters. They call them lightning birds. And they hunt at nights because it's too hot during the day.
At night, so they can hunt their prey in cooler temps?
Yes, they're like vampires.
And then you see some of the characters working on a car, Baruti and the other guy you were introduced to, when they're attacked by a blaster. And it hooks into one of the guys and flies off with them. And Andrea and Bert go hunting for it to save the guy. But he is left on a bridge to lure them out, and he's not. You can't save him. Andrea is freaked out by the blasters.
Like a freaking Rambo. Let's boogie.
And Bert's like, evacuate everybody. We're in panic mode. We're hunting these things down because they're a lot closer toward people than they thought before it was out in the middle of nowhere.
We need to evacuate everyone. We're going after them. We leave in 10.
Travis goes with Bert. He's following him. And he's like angry that Travis touches him. He's like, get the camera out of my face for your stupid show.
Hey, gummy bears, wait up.
Don't call me that.
Wait up.
I have time to posture for your camera.
Which, the show is Bert's, and he loves it. He was filming it all the time. He's always been shown filming him blowing them up. And he likes keeping a visual record of it. Like, he wanted Travis to be there to record it. But he keeps, like, hating Travis, then being fine with it, then hate. Like, it depends on the scene, how he feels. I don't get why he's so angry. Because sometimes he's fine. But he really hates Travis. They want you to know that. And I get it. Fine. But why was he... Yeah, Travis, be my brand guy. Be my camera guy. Don't film me, though.
This was a mistake, having you along. Just another pimple on the ass of progress.
See? Like, yeah, that was a Bert line. But, like, what? They suck together. I don't know. But he does get a cool gun from Nandi.
Where'd you get this?
You don't want to know.
Ooh, I like your style.
What's a veterinarian doing with a machine gun?
Good question. We'll leave her alone. We'll leave her alone. Andrea, Eric Van Wyck, Bert, out hunting blasters.
Stand behind me so he can't read your heat signature.
See, like, it's funny still. And Andrea shoots it with a tranquilizer because, again, Eric Van Wyck wants these things alive and captured. That's why they have that giant cage thing Travis was in earlier. He was putting a camera in it. Bert obviously does not think these things should be captured. He thinks they should be... Oof.
Say hello to my dog, bitch. Screw that, I'm out of here. No!
Andrea runs off, by the way. The lightning bird goes after him.
You can't kill me. I'm African.
Ass blast flambe.
The blasters had like a little nest that they were going in and out of and protecting. And Bert's near it and finds an egg. He's not in the nest yet, but he's just near it. And he finds an egg. And he's like, this is what they were protecting and being weird about. Eric Van Wyck, the guy we've been suspicious of, points a gun at Bert. And he's like, I'll be taking that. I do not work for Wildlife Federation. I am a poacher. So I'm taking that egg. I'm gonna lock you in that cage and leave you to rot. And Bert is Bert. So he's like, you can shoot me. You can do anything, but you're not gonna cage me.
Get into the cage or I'll shoot you in the stomach.
Shoot me, but you won't cage me.
But he gets caged. Now, I don't know if I just don't find, like I've said, the whole Dumb and Dumber thing funny. But if I get the tone of a movie, it's easy to amuse me. I don't get bored and annoyed if I'm having a good time. But this scene where he's locked in this cage fits a different movie tone. It's not a very Tremors-esque movie. He's locked in this cage for such a long time. He's losing his mind, crawling around, laughing, freaking out. Like I said, SNL skit version kind of doing Bird a disservice. I don't know if it's funny, if it's supposed, I don't know. The lion shows up and he tries to mind meld with it.
2 alphas, 1 understanding.
It's way too long, by the way. His graboid sensor thing goes off and he thinks a graboid's coming after him, but Travis shows up. Bert's like, hey, a graboid's coming after us. Travis is like, oh, we don't really have time to do anything. I'm just gonna hook you up to the truck and drive away real quick.
You get to high ground now.
This might get a little bumpy!
And I just talked so much crap about them together. But this is kind of funny.
My bad!
My bad. That's funny. Okay, I'll give it that. The truck crashed, obviously. Fuel line broke. And Travis is like, I can fix the fuel line. But we are out of fuel, so we're kind of stuck. We're stranded here. And right now our phone doesn't have service, so we have to get to high ground. Meanwhile, Amali and Baruti got separated from Nandi while Blaster's lightning birds were attacking. Baruti and Amali run and hide in a kitchen. It is creepy. I will give them that. Jurassic Park claw on the ground. It's a creepy scene. I was like, I feel like we just started watching a new movie. Why is it good for 10 seconds? And it almost gets them when it is arrowed to not existing anymore because Nandi saved them. Big fan of the B plot going on. Like, it's creepy scenes. It's shot really well. The blasters look better. They look cooler. The plot with the poacher and Africa having different animals, different graboid variations, is cool. I've got no qualm with anything going on in the movie except Travis and Bert, which they've been writing Bert for 4 movies. They had him doing great. Okay, I'm gonna shut up now. This was a good scene. And then it cuts to Van Wyck. Been hunted, obviously, by something because he is not doing great. Something takes his egg. They tell him to get up on rocks so he's protected from the graboid.
The tentacles have detached.
The tentacles detach from the graboid and swim. And don't worry, Bert eliminates them. It did knock Aaron Van Wyck like off the rocks, so he did fall back. So Van Wyck is on the ground. He gets eaten. Looks cooler. See, like this could have been such a good movie. Oh, and their explanation real quick. There's not like a deep science reasoning. The animals are different in Africa and the life cycle's different, and that there's blasters and graboids. Bert concludes is just that the African life cycle is different, which is fair, sure. Animals are going to evolve and exist differently in different continents. So I'm not giving them grief on the fact that they evolve differently. That makes sense to me. But they are shocked to learn that they were hunting the egg. They were defending the egg. And it goes back to, I brought up earlier that there was like a nest area that the blasters were near. So that is what Travis and Bert are doing. They're trying to find the nest to see what's going on in there. Travis is like, you're old and suffering from heat stroke. I'll go in the cave. I'll leave you the phone because we have service now, so you can call for help while I'll go check it out. And Bert's like, okay, take this phosphorus grenade, and if there's any trouble, grenade it and leave, and we'll handle it later. And Travis goes into the cave, finds a bunch of eggs. And not like the big graboid eggs or the big one they showed earlier. They're like tiny ones. And of course a blaster is in there defending the nest. Chases Travis out of there. He grenades the blaster. All the eggs are still in there. Bert did not call someone from the science area, like Nandi or someone like that, to come help them. He called the driver that he had at the beginning, when the sun sets in Africa, you better be running guy who's got a helicopter. When the helicopter lands, it's the driver and his co-pilot, and the co-pilot immediately gets eaten by the graboid. Because of course, it heard a helicopter landing. Why do they land in the dirt? It comes back and it eats the driver. Bert is like, we're out of ammo, we're stranded. Travis is like, no, there are rockets on the helicopter. We just gotta get to the helicopter. So how they get there to avoid the graboid is they run with all the cows. Why was the graboid not out there attacking and eating the cows that were running around? I don't know. So they run with the cows to get into the helicopter. Travis is like, ooh, let's play older music. And Bert's like, yeah, it takes me back. Travis is like, back to where? Which is a weird thing to say. But Bert's like, back before I met you. Which, whoa, they were fine. I don't get...
Back to where? Back before I met your sorry ass. Back to a gun show in Florida? What do you know about Florida? We're burning daylight.
What do you know about Florida? What are you talking about? What do you know about that gun show? Travis is like, nothing. Just forget I said anything. Let's move on. So they do. They launch the rockets. And the pilot's alive, by the way. He comes out of the ground because when he got swallowed, he machine gunned the inside of the graboid and it spit him out. So he's fine. So the pilot's fine and alive and can pilot them back. Again, Baruti and Nandi get attacked again by another blaster, like they're being hunted by them. Baruti takes care of one.
Again with the roof?
Woo! I like this badass Baruti.
And the graboid shows up too. So what Nandi does is she sets a car on fire, has the car go down a road, like set something on the gas pedal. So it attacks the Jeep. And she fire arrows the Jeep so it blows up as the graboid eats it. And that's another graboid down. So Nandi really pulling her weight here. I love what's going on. I think Nandi's probably the coolest person they've shown in these movies so far. I guess I think I might be the bow and arrow person because I watched this and I was like, Legos who? You know what I mean? Bert and Travis are driving back. They're all gonna meet at the village, not where the science building is, but back where all the people are. On the drive there, Bert's like, hey, what do you know about Florida? Why'd you bring that up? What do you know? And Travis is like, I know you went with a woman to a concert and she was this far left hippie woman and you were selling your guns and you were far right. Far left means far right, which, quick interjection, gonna be nitpicky again. She's not really far left if she willingly and happily was with a far right pro-gun guy. And Travis is also like, she likes Jimi Hendrix. You know, that kind of hippie. That hurt my feelings because I love Jimi Hendrix. And hearing him be involved in a Travis and Bert conversation hurt my entire being. Bert says that was 40 years ago. How do you know details? Bert's like, who is this woman to you? How do you know details about her? And of course, like we all guessed, based on the title of this movie and the other thing going on about the bloodline of graboids and blasters being protected, Travis goes,
Who is she to you? I call her Mom most of the time.
I call her Mom. Yeah. Who is shocked? Travis is Bert's child, and Bert's like, you're not my offspring, you suck. You're a loser. And then they get attacked by something, and Bert's like, oh, like Bert gets out of the car to be annoyed by this. People are in danger. They're being attacked. And Bert gets out of the car to be like, I don't like you. You can't be my kid. But they get attacked. He gets back in the car and they drive to the village. Nandi and Amale are in the car with Baruti. Nandi opens her kid's bag and she's like, what is this? And Amale's like, it's an egg I found. So that's why they're being hunted by the blasters keep attacking them and the graboid came after them. They have the last egg in the bloodline after the nest was destroyed. Last egg. So that's why they're being chased down. They're on the way to the village too. And Amali gets out of the car because she knows these people. But eventually Bert and Travis get there. You see everyone in the village that lives there up as high as possible, making noise, trying to get the attention of the tentacles of a graboid. The tentacles are out. Why? Is because Amali has that egg, so they are circling her.
What's the worm count? 1. And the queen bitch is coming for that egg.
She's out there alone. Travis takes off on his motorcycle, takes the bag from Amale, throws it to Nandi, so the egg is out of the way. Baruti runs, grabs Amale, so she's safe. Bert shoots one of the tentacle things, and the other one gets destroyed by Travis's motorcycle. He runs it over. Now their only issue is the last graboid. Nandi's like, I have a plan. Take your motorcycle, have it chase you, and when you see me shoot a flare or a fire arrow, come back, drive back. And so Travis leaves on his motorcycle. Nandi's like, my kid always shocks the dirt for worms, to get worms out of the ground for bait. We can do that now to get the worm out of the ground. And Bert's like, okay, what do we use to shock it out of the ground? And Nandi's like, the daily storm. It's almost time. So everyone gets a bunch of metal rods ready and sticks them in the ground. When everything's ready and the storm starts, Nandi shoots her fire arrow off, so Travis circles back and brings the graboid with him as the storm starts, and it shocks the ground where the worm is, bringing it out of the ground. Where everyone unleashes their ammo at it. Lightning strikes the graboid, and it blows up and rains down on them. They eat it. They eat the worm. Everyone eats the worm because they just killed it. It's been cooked.
Yeah, no, I know this is Africa, but I'm not gonna eat what I just killed.
I know this is Africa, but I'm not going to eat what I just killed. Does he think hunting only happens in Africa? I mean, he also eats, he'll eat a live worm though? I'm going to gloss over that. Okay. But she's like, thanks, you're a nice guy deep down. And he's like, deep down, not surface level?
Say thank you for everything. You're a good man. Deep down there.
Well, it's not on the surface.
She laughs, but no. The answer's no. And then everyone celebrates, everyone's happy. Bert and Travis have a good moment. Bert's like, what about my career? You said you'd fix me, you can stay around. And they have a moment, and that's the end of the movie. That was Tremors 5. Plot-wise, not bad. I like the different, the variation of graboid and blasters, because obviously they're going to look different everywhere. They're going to evolve different where it's colder, they're going to evolve different where it's hotter. It's not a bad concept. Even the electrocuting the worm out of the ground isn't ridiculous for these movies, you know? They've got to get sillier and campier every time. I'm not dissing any of the plot. The setting, the side characters. My qualm is everything I've already said. Bert, when he's with Travis, and even that in the cage scene, feels like a skit version of him. They up the ante way too much, trying to make Bert and Travis the funny duo dynamic thing going on, and it sucks. To the point where, when you find out they're father and son, you're like, yeah, duh, of course. Who cares? This isn't progressing the story. No one's shocked. No one's heart connected to it. It's not even funny. You don't care at all. You're bored. I want to say yes, it feels like a Tremors movie, when it's the Nandi storyline B plot going on. The way Bert and Travis are written in this movie is so sucky. Everything else, it doesn't feel like it's there. Like it's not an evolved Tremors movie. It feels like you're watching Tremors and something else. So I don't even know how to align this movie besides a waste of my time. Wait, hold on. I just looked this up. And I'm going to read this to you. This film came 11 years after Tremors 4: The Legend Begins, serving as Universal Pictures' relaunch of the franchise. This was the first entry in the series made without participation of Stampede Entertainment, the production company formed by the writing team that created the series. Universal chose to maintain all control. Of course. Of course. I feel like it stopped raining. Clouds parted. Everything makes sense to me now. This was a cash grab on trying to revamp things for shock value and entertainment. It's not the team that created Tremors. Okay, yeah, this movie sucked. Things look different. Sorry. It's a different day. Sorry, the cat's not in here, so you can't look at something cute while I'm talking. You can look at my Eye of the World Wheel of Time poster if you want. You can look at that instead if you get distracted. Or you can leave, I guess. Anyway, didn't go over my plot points or anything about this movie. I was like, what happens in Tremors 6? I just watched it. How did I remember every other movie? But this one? And that's pretty much all you need to know about it, is that I forgot about it. Not bad, not good, not great. I forgot. This is gingerbread tea with peppermint, stevia, like sweet drops in it. And I'm gonna remember how good that is for longer than I'm gonna remember anything about this movie. So I hope you're excited. Tremor 6, A Cold Day in Hell, 2018. Why is it called A Cold Day in Hell, you ask? It opens in Canada. We're gonna be in Canada, not me and you. The movie, it's set in Canada. And it opens with a research team getting glacier pieces. And this girl, one of the 3 research people, she's like, hey guys. Well, they established that it's hot because there's a heat wave and it's the Arctic summer. So that's why this is the only good scene of snow that you see the entire movie. She's like, hey guys, something's moving down here. I'm getting some movement readings. These 2 other scientists' suggestions are maybe there was a rock fall from all the drilling. And the other guy jokingly says, maybe it's the Easter Bunny. Because she's like, it's huge and it's moving. And they're like, nothing is alive in these glaciers.
Seismic spike in the ice?
Probably just an isostatic rebound.
It's a lie.
Maybe the backscatter effect brought up a rock formation.
Yeah, maybe it's the Easter Bunny.
And she's like, well, I can read science graphs. Anyway, the point is, this is not relevant to the story at all. The reason I'm harping on it is because she calls the guy who said Easter Bunny a dumbass. She's like, it's not the Easter Bunny, dumbass. He was being sarcastic. The other guy suggested rock formation. She said huge, moving, and alive, and he said maybe it's a rock formation, and he was being serious. Now, you might not know this, but I think a scientist should. That rocks are not alive, and I feel like a scientist could tell the difference. But she calls the guy making a joke, being sarcastic, who suggested Easter Bunny, the dumbass, because. And that was your opening. That was your opening. Scientists not being smart. Oh, and then they all get eaten. We cut to Perfection, Nevada. There's no one in Nevada, in Perfection, Nevada. I mean, they're probably in other places in Nevada. Not here. It's just Bert. There's not even buildings. It is just the store, and that's it. Bert works there. There's no one else there. A tax guy shows up.
Your tax position has been deemed frivolous by the IRS.
And he's like, you're on the red. You don't pay your taxes. They said that Earl and Grady weren't in these movies anymore because they're off. They made their theme park that they suggested in the second movie. That's where they are. And I thought, oh my god, we're going to get a theme park movie. We are gonna see the graboids in the theme park, and that's gonna be so cool. Such a cool concept. I will keep watching these. No, we haven't got anything interesting yet. We're just looking at graboids in a different place, which is fine. You can make them cooler. Obviously, you know that Africa, they evolve different in different places. Did that, but this one doesn't. I'm just bored. I don't want to watch this movie again. So they bicker, and Tech Guy leaves. But then,
Did you miss me?
Travis is here. Travis is back. Yay! Yippee! I'm so excited. This is so cool. I'm so glad Travis and Bert's characters ruin each other again, and I have to sit here and watch this for another movie. I'm so excited. And you see Bert asleep on the top of the store, have night terrors and flashbacks to all the times graboids have been attacking him. This was my thought process watching this the first time. Oh, they're gonna address a serious topic. He's got PTSD or CPTSD, because obviously there's a lot of circumstances where he almost died. Something real. But then my thought was, oh, these movies do not have the tact or ability to tackle that situation. Please don't do this, because they'll just make fun of it. And it'll go away when he falls in love, you know? Don't worry if that was also your thought process. It's not anything like that. It's not any mental health issue. It's just put this situation back of your head. Pin it, write it on your hand. Bert nightmares, not PTSD. Just put a pin in it for me, okay? It'll come back. But Travis goes up on the roof and he's like, you got a phone call from Canada. And Bert answers the phone. The lady's like, I'm Dr. Rita Sims. We have graboids in Canada. And Bert's like, that's impossible. Graboids don't live in Canada. Every movie. It's just, this can't happen. How would you know? Dr. Rita Sims, the scientist lady, she hands the phone to her research assistant. And her research assistant is like, hey, I am a graboid expert. I love graboids. I know everything about them. I know everything about shriekers. I know everything about blasters. We have graboids. And she spouts all these facts off about them, and that impresses Bert and convinces him, which I don't understand how that impresses him, because like I've told you, everyone knows about these things. Everything about them. In fact, it shocked people and annoyed them that Jack Sawyer in movie 3 didn't know everything about them. But anyway, she says it in like a scientifically long-term way, and he's like, oh, whoa, that's so true. I'll believe you now. They fly to Canada. They're in a helicopter. Their pilot's name is Mac. Mac is flying them to Canada, and they get attacked by a blaster.
Ass blasters in the Arctic.
And have to emergency land the plane. They're fine. Everyone's fine. One thing real quick. I won't sit here and talk for 5 minutes about how annoyed I am before I even show you anything like I did in the last movie. This one's line delivery gets worse. The side characters are just as cool as usual. Cornier line delivery, however, and I don't like from everyone, especially the research assistant, Val.
You failed to tell me about the AB infestation.
We have ass blasters?
Love her though, cute addition. It's just the lines written for her and the way that I guess the director wanted this to be more, I don't know. It is like worse acting than usual. And for this genre, you're not even looking for 5-star Grammy performances, but it's declining. Val, you've heard the name before. It was in the first one. She's named Val because her name is Valerie McKee. She is Val and Rhonda's daughter.
I'm Val and Rhonda's daughter.
No.
Let's get you back to the station.
Kevin Bacon and Rhonda's daughter from the first movie. This is their child. She was the genius one that was like, I know everything about graboids. I'm a big fan. So Rita Sims, Val, and Dr. Ferretti. Dr. Ferretti sucks. Not as an actor, not as line delivery, just as a character. You're not supposed to like him. So this isn't a negative. I'm just saying he's like he wanted to leave now, but Mac has to stay and work on the helicopter that they had to crash land. So he can't leave. So he's like freaked out, panicked. I understand him. I'd be the same way, but he's annoying about it, and it's funny. You know, I'm not harping on it, but you love Rita Sims. She's cool. You meet Dr. Fritzy now, and he realizes he's stuck there with everyone. So they all go to the compound to meet everybody. Swackhammer. We meet Swackhammer.
Swackhammer.
Swackhammer?
I hammered and nailed this place together. You need to know anything, I'm your guy.
And Hart Hansen.
The air in particular has been one of the warmest on record up here.
One of the nerd scientists also over there. Next door to their research compound is DARPA, who are like government people doing research just next door. They're just research neighbors. And Bert thinks that they are evil government people.
I'll bet you $1 or a donut hole. We've zeroed in on DARPA's testing.
Who have done tests on the graboids and have released the graboids and are doing genetic testing and genetic modification on the graboids. And that's outlandish and ridiculous and not what's going on. But I thought that's kind of campy, kind of cool. I hope we get that in this movie. We don't. Didn't get my amusement park movie, which I wanted so bad. And this movie isn't genetically modified graboids. We're just in the Arctic with no snow. Everyone's back in the research area. A blaster attacks. And Dr. Fritzy is not in the room. He's outside. And Bert goes out there to save him and then destroys the blaster. And then his ears start ringing. And he falls down and he has those flashes. And he wakes up in the medical bay. He has a parasite from the time he was swallowed by a graboid in the barrel.
Fight the toxin as originating from a graboid.
In Tremors 3. And the only way he can survive, because it's killing him now, is if they get antibodies from a live graboid, from its anti-venom sac in its mouth. Do I know how anyone knows about this? No. Do they explain? No. Do I need them to? No. I don't care. But that's what's wrong with him. The science lady, while she's talking about how the antibodies have to be from a live graboid, she gets eaten. Graboid tentacles rip her through a window. Dr. Fritzy is like, oh my god, graboids kill people? You know what would help? Is if I shrilly scream and freak out while everybody does something productive.
Attacked by a hostile underground life form. We're all going to die.
A blaster tore their comms tower apart, so they don't have any way of communication. They're like, where did the satellite phone go? BFFs? Dr. Fritzy took it and he ran away. He's abandoning them, ran to his truck. Now, I'm going to tell you something about graboids that apparently even scientists forgot. They hunt by vibrations on the ground. What? Whoa, shock. I forgot. That's such an easy thing to forget about them and not essential at all. I understand how he could totally put that out of his head and run outside to get to his car. Hart Hansen, why do I know the name Hart Hansen? He created Bones in the Finder. Not the guy, but there's a man named Hart Hansen who made Bones in the Finder. That's why I've seen it. That's why I know his name. Mystery solved. Moving on. So, Hart Hansen, not the TV guy, the character in the movie, runs outside to go save Dr. Fritz.
Please, adios, amigo. Dr. Fritz!
And Hart Hansen's little escapade to go save Dr. Fritzy, it goes great. Because Dr. Fritzy is... I understood him and how shrill and scared he was until Hart Hansen was banging on that door and he's like, adios, and that little creepy grin. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I was like, kill him. So Hart Hansen scatters. He has to climb a tower thing to get away.
I can drop an elk at 800 yards and field dress it in less than 30 minutes. Maybe that'll pull you out of your worry well. We're up for this.
Like, you can't deliver that line in a cool... When any character is like, we're up to the task, let me list all my qualifications and how cool I am. It's always corny. It's always out of place. And everyone's out there making sure nothing attacks Hart Hansen, but he is now stranded on that tower. And everyone runs back into the compound.
This shit just got real.
You're joking. That's a line they thought to put in this movie. It was probably tongue-in-cheek. It was probably this is a corny movie. This is gonna be stupid. We have to say the generic stupid stuff, but it sucks. And if you're thinking, I'm not doing this movie justice, I left my room to go refill my waters. And I came back and sat down. I was like, what was I doing? I should be playing Pop Tropica. And I was like, oh no, I'm in the middle of Tremors 6. What is going on? Nothing. Nothing. It's not good. It's not bad. I don't know how necessary it was.
They just came out of hibernation, and based on their body mass index, those creatures need to eat a lot.
Also, they're just huge monsters and eat people all the time. Anyway, the DARPA people show up and they're like, one of our lead scientists got eaten. And what the lead scientist was doing was just collecting water, because what the DARPA people are doing are collecting and testing water to make a clean water aquifer. Bert's like, no, you're doing genetic testing. Bert and the DARPA guy arguing. The graboid does break through the floor and eat a lot of the DARPA people. So everyone runs outside where Mac is fixing the helicopter, but of course they're attacked. Reed Sims and Travis get separated and they're stuck on top of an overturned car. They're very much in danger. So to distract the graboid from them, Bert's plan is to have Hart Hansen, who's up on that tower, pee off the tower, and all the water on the ground will drive it to them, who they're more secure and safer. And I'm not joking about that.
Fire at will. Preferably today. I'm trying. If you're gonna piss like a puppy, stay on the porch.
What? It works. Obviously. Duh, it works. Travis and Rita Sims get away, everyone scatters again. Bert's running and climbs up on some rocks to get away from the graboid, and he has another one of his episodes. So he is down and collapsed and unconscious. The graboid's going after everybody, making noise. It's going after Hart Hansen on the tower. When everyone's safe, Hart Hansen is still stuck on that tower, by the way. An alarm goes off, and the tower starts drilling, so it's set to an automatic drill time. Everyone else got to where Mac is and is safe in that area, and the drill that Hart is perched on goes off. So it's drilling in the ground, so obviously it's attracted to go attack him. He used the generator to make like an underground electric fence real fast, and they make a bunch of noise, hammering, whatever. So the graboid swims to them and gets electrocuted.
Broke into the wrong goddamn hangar, didn't you, you bastard?
And meanwhile, Val gets off her perch and goes to the tower that Hart Hansen is on and to save him and turns it off. So those two are good. Back to everyone celebrating that one graboid is not alive and there's still another one. The electrical fence explodes. The generator explodes. And the electrical fence underground is no more. And Bert has another episode and is collapsed again. So he is even worse off than he was before. He had that little episode on the rocks but got back up after a while. But Bert is now in medical bay for good. They come up with a plan. They have to capture the last graboid alive to extract venom from it to save Bert, right? So they're going to capture it in a cargo container, but before they do that, one DARPA guy, the main DARPA guy, has to get saved by them. He was hiding on top of a cargo container. Travis is like, I'll help you down if you void taxes that Bert has to pay. He no longer has to pay taxes for perfection, for anything. He's out of the red. He's all clear. And the guy's like, okay. And they help him down. Well... Then there's a scene of Bert in the hospital room, and like I've said several times, Travis is a fine character, you know, tropey, whatever, they all are. But Travis and Bert in the same room ruin both their characters. They're annoying. I don't want to see them on screen together. This is no different. They have not evolved or changed from the last movie. Bert is still sucky and mean and hateful, and Bert's like, give me that gun. Don't leave me undefended. That gun's not yours. Travis got it from his ex-wife Heather, so he went to go talk to her when he was gone for a while. And so that's why Bert's like, you shouldn't have that gun.
There. It's a true love back. I guess blood ain't thicker than ammo, is it, Bert?
No. Blood is not thicker than ammo. Literally. And it's like, I get emotional in watching commercials, watching anything, It's so easy. I felt nothing watching this because you're not connected to them. They change every scene. I'm bored. I like really don't have any new critiques or annoyances. So I'm gonna quickly go through the end of the movie. I'll gear up for the final battle to trap the graboid. They are going to trap it in a storage container. How do they catch the graboid, you ask? What are those things called? A Newton's cradle. Yeah, a Newton's cradle, those swinging metal ball things that are always on people's desks, sit on the ground, and there is a rope tied to it. And Travis is standing on a container that they're going to trap it in, holding a rope with a hook. Mac is going to fly her helicopter over him. He's going to hook it onto the helicopter. And the graboid is going to eat the Newton's cradle because it's making a noise. Mac is gonna fly the helicopter that's attached to something inside of the graboid. So it pulls the graboid up, release the ropes.
Release! Release!
So the graboid launches itself into, like, back down, but into the shipping container. So, like, they use the graboid's body weight itself to launch him inside. I'm not joking. They have these things keeping it in there, and it holds the graboid's mouth open so Travis can crawl inside of the graboid to get the anti-venom. They heal Bert. He's fine. That's not the end. The DARPA people give Bert his forms to void his taxes, and they're standing right next to the graboid that's in the container, and Bert blows it up.
Look, I don't know what you're doing, but I'd strongly advise you not to do it.
What they said earlier, they're like, we're not doing bioweapons or bioresearch with these things. That's a good idea. And Bert was like, oh no, you cannot have this graboid. You're going to be evil government people with it, so we're going to blow it up. And he blows it up right in front of him. And that's the end of the movie. Well, no. Rita Sims and Travis kissing is the end of the movie. That was Tremor 6, A Cold Day in Hell. Now, is it bad? No. Is it a Tremors movie? It feels like a filler episode in a TV show, but not one of the good ones. I don't know. Like, it wasn't bad. It was cornier. The monster scenes are cool, and I guess in the Arctic there aren't shriekers either. They turn from graboid to a blaster, and they both exist at the same time, even though the graboids are freshly out of hibernation. You get to see Travis work outside of just interacting with Bert. And I don't know if they were still trying to be funny and comedic with Travis and Bert's duo. They still weren't. I don't know, everything's cornier about this movie. Slower, less funny, and less creepy, but had good monster scenes still. Like, again, I feel like they've lost the balance. Line deliveries were very corny in this movie. Essentially, this movie is okay, a little boring, not bad. It was Tremor 6. It was Tremor 6. That's all I got for you. I think I'm comparing this to Tremors 5, not Tremors 1, 2, and 3, and some of 4. Doing that, it just makes me sad. So, let's watch Tremors 7. Tremors 7, Shrieker's Island, came out in 2020. And I don't think I hate this movie. Mostly. I'll tell you when it loses me, but I don't hate this movie at all. Again, until then, we're having fun. And it opens with a child luring a graboid to a hunting party. Like, he's the bait. You know these are rich people because they're using a local child as bait in a dangerous situation. It's a hunting party that seems happy to be there. See the graboid come out of the ground, shooting everything they have at this graboid. It's freaky looking. They do not succeed in eliminating it, but this woman Anna, who's in the hunting party, comes up to Bill and she's like, Bill, we shot that thing with a lot of Special K, which is their tranquilizer graboid killer. Should we be concerned?
That's disappointing, but we'll get him. What?
Bill's like, nah, we're gonna. Bill is the leader of the rich people, owns this island. He's like, nah, we'll get him. We did nothing wrong. Yeah, he genetically modified these things. He had a scientist genetically modify graboids, put them in an island where nobody is, Dark Island is the name of it. So he can get other rich people to pay to come hunt them. Genetically modified graboids. What could go wrong? The hunting party gets on a boat from that Dark Island and goes to a different island. So there's like a big island here with all the people on it, and Dark Island is over here. So they have to get on a boat to go to where the graboids are. So there's no one actually in immediate danger. On this island that Bill goes back to, one side is where his hunting party is hanging out and camping, and over here on the same island are researchers. They're like studying animals and the wildlife there. They know Bill is an evil, weird billionaire. And by them, I mean Jazz and Jimmy. Jazz, I guess, is the head research lady. Jimmy is her sidekick research guy. Jazz, she's like, hey, what is Bill doing? And Jimmy's like, I don't know. That's his creepy, private-owned island. We can't go over there. And Jazz is like, well, I'm going to go over there.
That's Bill's private island, Jazz. You know the deal. No trespassing.
Let's go see what he's up to.
We should go over there and look what he's doing, because he's rich and evil. Their friend Ishaman also goes with them. They get on a boat and they go to Dark Island, and they find a graboid not alive, ripped apart from the inside. So we know that that means shriekers, but I guess they don't know that. One of them eats Ishaman. You don't see the shrieker. You just hear it and you know. Now, if the graboids are genetically modified, bigger, creepier, scarier, meaner, so are the shriekers. Absolutely yes, please. Thrilled to be here. Got no qualms so far. But Jazz and Jimmy get out of there and they're on a boat. And Jimmy is like, what was that attacked our friend? And Jazz is like, I don't really know, but I know of someone who can. You need to go find Bert Gummer and he can come help us. Jimmy gets on a boat and he goes to find Bert, who's on a secluded island all alone, and Jazz goes to confront Bill about what's going on over there. Except for the fact that the scientists don't know about graboids and shriekers, I guess. They're like, what is that? What was that? What killed our friend? Again, moving on. So Jimmy found Bert and is like, I'm done with graboid hunting. I'm done with any of this. And I hate the government. The government will get ya. But Jimmy's like, please, it's eating people. And people are in danger. It's your destiny. And Bert's like, okay, yeah, you're right. So that's handled. Bert's on his way. And you're wondering where Travis is? He's in jail. And not in this movie. The actor's not in jail. The character is, because he tried to smuggle magic mushrooms into Mexico. So he's in jail. That's where he is. And Jazz went to Bill's camp. She's like, shut this hunt down. We found a dead graboid on your island. We know that you have graboids there. And he's like, oh, it's dead? I guess we did kill it. But they don't know that it's shriekers. She didn't keep it from them. I guess she just doesn't understand graboids and shriekers. But Bill is like, I'm not shutting this hunt down, as evil rich people do. I like that the villain is more involved and is part of the B plot. And he's a stereotypical tropey evil rich guy villain, and I don't mind it. You know, obviously it fits. I'm not looking for anything new. The acting for Bill is good, like really good. It's not cartoonish evil villain guy, and it is, but in a good way. Bert shows up, and he is not happy because Dr. Jazz Welker is Travis's mother and his ex one night stand that he loved or whatever. You know, though, he's like, I'm gonna leave. You didn't tell me about my kid.
Taking this boat back to my life of total isolation.
Please, Bert, don't.
You never connected with me, blah, blah, blah. And Jazz is like, okay, we don't have to talk about any of that. We can just talk about graboids and that's it. Just please come help. And Bert's like, okay. What I'm more excited about is Jimmy. because they brought back fun duo dynamics in the main characters. And I know it's not just Jimmy that's main, I know it's Jazz and then another girl that you'll meet in a second. I've been missing that like good connection and fun actual humor and interest in the main characters in so long. So I'm great. I'm thrilled. But Bert's, shaving his beard, shaving his hair, while everyone watches his web series about what graboids and shriekers are,
And employs 3 powerful snake-like oral tentacles.
because they don't know. One person knows who Bert is in that group of scientists. Now, I know this is for the audience. If you've never seen another Tremors movie or it's been years, you're getting a quick little reminder via the videos. But they've also drilled in every movie, they have drilled in, everyone knows about these things, and it is weird that you don't know. They keep mentioning an indigenous population on this island that could be at risk. They don't show anyone but the child at the beginning. Do you know how easy it would have been to just have one person from this island who's secluded, who, doesn't know about them, involved in the movie, and they could have been like, this is what we're dealing with, this is how you're helping defend your home and your people, let's tell you about them. And that could have been for the audience, and it would have made sense. But no, they're telling us these scientists and people who have been alive since the graboids have been discovered and have been everywhere don't know about them and don't know how they work or anything about them. I'm just saying. So they all watch those videos. Freddie, she is one of the people on the research team. She knew who Bert was. Just this girl, Freddie. So everyone's now well acquainted with the knowledge of what graboids are, and shriekers and blasters, and that they attack vibrations and then heat sense you. And Bill shows up, and Bill's like, Bert Gummer on my island, you better not be interrupting this hunt because it's gonna happen. And you need to not intervene.
We need to shut down and create a perimeter we can defend so the native population of this island doesn't get eaten alive.
Like I told Jazz, that island's a natural containment zone.
Bill doesn't listen. He does not shut down his hunt. And Jimmy is like, hey, we don't really have weapons here, but there's an old World War II bunker filled with machetes.
That's supposed to be good?
Does a bear shit in the woods and wipe its ass with a white rabbit?
And 2 flamethrowers and dynamite. Does that help?
Is it sweating?
Dynamite sweat?
Dynamite sweats. Someone didn't watch Lost. Of course Dynamite sweats. Remember that guy blew up in Lost? I don't. I don't remember him. That's Freddie, the girl in there who gets Bert's humor.
Dynamite improperly stored sweats its main ingredient, nitroglycerin.
Yeah, which causes it to be highly, and I mean highly unstable.
And she's like, yeah, the dynamite's unstable and sweating, but we can use that to our advantage. We can set it up so we have like a graboid alarm system. When it gets past this, it'll blow it up. Bert's like, that's dangerous work. Can you and your team handle that? Are you even equipped and prepared to handle this situation? She's like, I grew up on a weed plantation in California. Murder Mountain. I defended that. I've had a gun in my hand since I was 7. I was an Eagle Scout. I'm super cool and tough. Which is cool. Yeah, corny lines and delivery in this movie too. But I think she's cool. It fits.
In my hand and a knife on my hip since I was 7. I'm not some tree-hugging vegan chick.
Forgot about that line. That's fair. I've said several times I wouldn't want to be in this situation. So as a tree-hugging vegan chick, that's fair. And I don't speak for all of us. You be fine in this situation, and you are a tree-hugging vegan chick. Cool. You don't want me doing that. It shows everyone back, like the hunting party, Bill's hunting party, back on Dark Island. They're being heat sensed, meaning shriekers are hunting them down. And then it cuts back, Jimmy, Freddie, and Bert. They're getting ready to get on the boat. They've got their flamethrowers, their machetes, and they're gonna go to Dark Island to, get rid of these monsters. Even though Bill's like, don't.
They hunt by heat signature. Like Predator.
This is real life, son, not some Hollywood fairy tale.
Okay. And his and Jimmy's dynamic is funny. him and Freddie is a cute dynamic. Him and Jazz, you've got tension going on there. So it's like I've got no issue at all. They're on Dark Island to help defeat the Shriekers.
What the hell is that? Bioacoustics. Speaking to each other.
And they jump out of nowhere. They're so much cooler in this movie.
Hey, we've lost Wall Street, Bill. He was right behind me.
They're gonna piss like a puppy. You better stay on the porch.
Again. Huh? Sure. Okay. And this is what they look like. Yeah, they can shriek so loud that it knocks everyone to the ground and they can just pick apart everyone. They're doing that, eating everybody, shrieking. And Freddy show up with their flamethrowers and get rid of some of the Shriekers. And then, everyone leaves and go back to their parts of the other island. Yeah, so far, the movie is shot cool. The Shriekers and the Graboid being modified. Huge fan of it. The hunting scenes of the Shriekers hunting everybody and the monster scenes, I've been a huge fan of. I'm not bored. First watched this movie, and I've been depleted from the 5th and the 6th one. I was like, is this movie good? And I think that it is. Anyway, everyone gets back, and Jazz meets them on the dock. And she's like, hey, BFFs. We tracked a huge elephant a couple weeks ago, and it is underwater on its way here because one of the Graboids ate it. They got off the island and are headed towards Bill's camp.
Graboids aren't that big, they don't swim.
You sure about that?
It's impossible.
Graboids aren't that big, they don't swim. Again, what is with these how? They're genetically modified. And how do you know? You seem to not know anything. Every movie, you're perplexed and shocked. You don't know. The Graboid has left Dark Island and is headed toward theirs. They go to tell Bill that they are going to help kill this Graboid. And your hunting thing is over. This is for safety now, we're getting rid of them.
A genetically enhanced giant carnivorous worm with tunneling abilities that puts Bugs Bunny to shame.
Fair. And doesn't convince Bill. He's like, who cares that these people died? They signed waivers. We're going to finish our little hunting thing. And if anything, the Shriekers make it more interesting. And he needs to get Bert and everyone out of the way, so he tranquilizes Bert and captures everybody and locks them in the World War II bunker, so him and his rich friends can go hunt the Graboids and the Shriekers.
Shouldn't have hatched these things, let alone juice them. There's actually a Burt Gummer Day, like Labor Day or Memorial Day. He's a superhero in some circles.
There's a Burt Gummer Day. People know about him so much. He is so world-renowned. There's a Burt Gummer Day because he is known for killing all these monsters. Then why do you keep showing me scientists who don't know what Graboids are? That's my question and qualm. Maybe I'm a loser and don't get what's going on, and this makes sense? It doesn't to me. So that's the science guy. He's freaked out now.
He's a paranoid militant with more guns and ammo than any sane person should have.
That's true. That is also true. Yeah. I'll give Bill that. Hunting party is getting attacked. And that doctor scientist guy freaks out.
I don't have a visual! It's an underground creature, you idiot.
And runs. Anna shoots off flares to distract the Graboid and try to help save the scientist guy. Then you see the Graboid. It doesn't attack the scientist guy. A different Graboid shows up and eats him. And Anna shows up to the bunker. She leaves Bill's camp, Bill's team. She's like, this man's gone way too far. He doesn't care about anything. And we need to get rid of these Graboids. And joins Bert's. On her walk there, it brought one of the Graboids with her. And they used dynamite to blow up the bunker when the Graboid gets in it. So they blow up the bunker and get rid of one of the Graboids that way. One Graboid left. The Queen Bee Graboid. That's what Anna called it. She was like, the Queen Bee Graboid is huge and a problem. Bert goes to save and help Bill, because all of your friends have been eaten. It is just Bill alive from the group. Well, and Anna, but she's a part of Bert's group now. Bill's like, no. No, I'm gonna stay here and stay my ground and I'm gonna win.
Find it and kill it.
Bill, don't be a damn fool. Come on.
Bill gets eaten.
Bill, come on.
I got
And Bert goes back. This was Bert's conclusion.
Bill wasn't just a food source, he was an enemy. That graboid wanted him.
I didn't come after you. You're obviously the alpha.
She's culling the weakest from the herd first.
Oh, crap. That means I'm next.
Yeah, the graboid is so evolved that it senses who's the biggest threat and is eating who's weaker, and like it knows who's who. That's where this movie's starting to lose me. Like I understand the concept. They think Bert will be last because he's the toughest and biggest problem. How does the graboid know this? I don't know. And yes, I've been saying I don't care, but this, whatever. I think I hate this part. Dark Island still has shriekers. And then the research island has the Queen Bee graboid. While Jimmy and Bert go to Dark Island to kill all the shriekers, to flambe them with their flamethrowers, everyone on this island, the research island, is going to Devil's Punch Bowl, which is an inactive volcano with a huge cliff. They're putting at the bottom of the cliff a bunch of sticks and explosives. And Bert's plan, when he comes back from eliminating all the shriekers, is to lead the graboid off the cliff, like at the end of the first movie. So it'll dive off the cliff after chasing Bert and go through the cliff and into the Devil's Punch Bowl, where all the explosives and sticks are. So it doesn't just go back into the ground, it dies. And that's the game plan. They go into the cave all equipped.
Go, Rambo. I've got the chainsaw. I'm going Evil Dead. You ready?
And it's a cool scene. It's a cool scene. Jimmy chainsaws them, Bert flamethrowers them, and that's how the shriekers get handled. Bert and Jimmy come back, and immediately, as soon as Bert steps on the ground, he gets radioed, and he is told by everybody, Queen Bee is right underneath you. She's just hovering underneath you. So Bert gets down on the ground and talks to it, and listens to it like hum back, like vocalize back, like talk back to him.
You've been waiting for me, haven't you?
So everyone else leaves. Graboid does not chase them. Graboid does not try to eat them. Graboid stays right under Bert and lets them all go to Devil's Punch Bowl and finish setting it up. And Bert just stands there and then leads it to Devil's Punch Bowl. He walks and it follows him. He's standing on the cliff waiting, and Jimmy shows up. Jimmy's like, I'm not letting you do this alone. How do Bert and Jimmy manage to have a conversation if the graboid's been chasing Bert this whole time? Great question. It stopped at the end of the road and just waited. Like it's up a dirt path, just sitting and waiting. The movie kind of implies that Bert and the graboid have a stare down.
This was it, Ram boy.
Bert and Jimmy do the Val and Earl and Rhonda thing where they're standing still and then take off running so it chases them. Bert pushes Jimmy out of the way so he can't be in any danger anymore. The graboid leaps out of the ground to eat Bert. It goes off the edge of the cliff. And the graboid leaps to her death on all of these sticks and explosives. The queen rains down on everyone. That scene did make it look like Bert got eaten, because he did. He's dead. Just kidding. Of course, everyone has this little search party where you think that he's not alive anymore. They're like, oh, where did Bert go? They find him in the grass. He's fine, he rolled out of the way. Just kidding again, they find his hat. He did get eaten. He did die. The movie ends with them having a memorial for him. And that's when, you got pranked. He shows up because he survived. He just fell off the rocks. Just kidding again. He is not alive. Bert died. Bert got eaten by the graboid. You saw it. I saw it. I showed it to you. He's not alive. He was here. The graboid ate him. And they went off the cliff together. And it ends with his memorial. And that is the end of Tremors 7, Shrieker's Island. Loved this movie. up until the graboid can sense people and knows who is who and who's a bigger threat. But like I get it, it's genetically modified. Everything else was cool. The shriekers were creepier, like so much creepier, more well done. Everything was finely tuned. It's funny also. It's got a better dynamic between everybody. Yeah, there's corny line delivery and tropey stuff, but that's what the series is, and I've got no problem with it. I had a blast, and it's a Tremors movie. I liked it more than the fifth and the sixth one. The ending, the worm sensing people and knowing who's who. It's not too drilled in, like it's not every part of the movie, which I like. I like that it's just at the end and they figure it out and Bert uses that. I like that. I like that it's not every aspect of it. So I'll give it that. Campier, I think it's a good evolution of all the movies. You know my thoughts. That's all I have for you. Thank you for watching. If you're still watching, that was watching the Tremors franchise. Bye!